kí ètò tòní kó dẹ̀ lọ kó rí bá a ṣe ń fẹ́ o, kó rí bá a ṣe ń fẹ́, á rí bá a ṣe ń fẹ́ lágbára Èdùmàrè. So yeah, this particular program we've got today, I have to say is completely instinctive, okay? So this particular program today is completely instinctive. I wasn't planning to do this today. I wasn't planning to go live today, but I had a sudden, there was something I saw on Instagram actually. There was something I saw on Instagram. Mo ní nǹkan tí mo rí lórí Instagram tó inspire ètò yìí. To inspire fọ́nrán eléyìí. There was something I saw on Instagram today. Tó wá jẹ́ kí n ṣe àkíyèsí àwọn nǹkan kan ń pé ẹ tiẹ̀ dúró náà. A máa sọ pé religious war, a máa sọ pé religious war, a máa ní pé ọ̀kẹ́ àwọn Christian ló ń pa. But tá bá really wo kíní yẹn, tá bá rò ó jinlẹ̀, this is never ever been about religion. It is just religion is being used as a disguise. So religion was only being utilized as a disguise, and I'm going to explain why. So everything that's going on in Africa and what is always going to happen in Africa, it was never about religion, and it still isn't to this day. But it's easy for one to confuse it for religious conflict, because that's ultimately the strategy and the manipulation that they're using. Okay, so it's easy for one to confuse it for a religious conflict, which it definitely isn't, and I'm going to explain it once we go live. So for those who are watching us, please power tap, share the live. Let's get as many people involved as possible. I am well aware of the timing. I know that people are finishing work. Mo mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn ń parí iṣẹ́, àwọn èèyàn ṣe máa bọ̀ láti ibi iṣẹ́ ni, ṣó ti yé yín? But there's no time like the present. You know what I'm saying? There's no time like the present. So we're gonna have to roll with it. We're gonna have to just roll with it like that. You get me? So yeah, please bear with me. I do understand and I appreciate that people are returning from work around this time of day. They probably want to get back, relax, put their foot up, maybe get something to eat. I understand all of that, but look, it is what it is. Now is the time. We're just gonna have to roll with it. We're just gonna have to go through it. You know what I'm saying? They're saying life, you have to go through it to get through it, right? So yeah, we're just gonna have to go through it in order to get through it. You get me? So that's how we're gonna be doing this one. So let's see, who do we have here? Orishadunsin. What a beautiful name. Bàbá mi Orishadunsin. Ẹ bá mi share live here. So that àwọn èèyàn á lè mọ̀ pa àti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò yìí. A dé ṣe ètò yìí ní àṣeyọrí àti àṣe ìṣẹ́gun lágbára Èdùmàrè ní ọlá àwọn tó ṣílẹ̀kùn ọjọ́ òní. So yeah, if anybody would like to come on the panel and come and get involved in the conversation, please definitely feel free to do so. But I'm not going to be holding any punches with this one. I'm a koribo ni. I'm a koribo kò sí pé ní rose we're just gonna dive into it. We're gonna call things out exactly as they are. So mo de ṣeba fún gbogbo àwọn tó ń wò wá o. But if you're watching us, you're not following the page, definitely follow the page. If you're watching us as a first timer, follow the page, you know what I'm saying? If you're watching us, share the live. Ebawa share live, ebawa power tap. Let's get the program interactive. Let's get some interactivity going, you get me? So yeah, let's do it. So yeah, so what is the topic of today's discussion? So like I said earlier, this is something I was inspired to do. I was just on Instagram earlier today, so I had to pull together a quick PowerPoint slide. I was on Instagram earlier today, and for those who are aware, at the moment, certain parts of Africa have been receiving a lot of backlash in America. A lot of backlash from Donald Trump. So there's a lot of conversation about certain parts of Africa right now. When they're talking about the Somalians in particular, there's a lot of Somalians are getting it right now. You know what I'm saying? So so Somalians are getting it left, right, and center. You know what I'm saying? They can't get it right at the moment. They're getting a lot of negative attention. There's a lot of negativity being channeled towards our Somalian brothers and sisters. So those kind of rhetorics are definitely ongoing, very, very heavy on social media, particularly on Instagram, at least from my own observation, from my own personal observation. But something else, there is a prevalent narrative though that I kept hearing it. Oh, you know, Islam, you know, they're targeting Christians, you know. This is, you know, Christians, they're targeting Christians, they don't like Christians. Christianity is, Islam is incompatible with Christianity. Islam is incompatible with America. I keep hearing it, those, you know, that narrative being repeated. But every time I hear the latter, oh, Islam is incompatible with the Western world. And I'm thinking, hang on. So, what do you mean? Islam is not even compatible with Africa either. I'm like, well, Islam, I could also make an argument that it's not compatible with Africa. So I was thinking about that on one part of my brain, in one section of my medulla. I was thinking about that, but there's another narrative that keeps repeating, which is also about, oh, Islam, is targeting Christianity. They're doing this. They're unaliving Christians. They're doing that. So I keep hearing that. So every time I hear that, I can't help but think about Akila people in Christian, but that then made me go into my thought process a little bit more. I had to do some deeper thinking, deeper analysis, and then I realized one thing. Like I had a moment of enlightenment whereby I came to the realization that do know. When why to she just play man portray kini as something against Christians, but then again, when we analyze it closely, àwọn Christian kò jẹ́ àwọn ló máa ń kọ́kọ́ kojú ìjà sí ni, àwọn ló máa ń kọ́kọ́ pa. Ṣó ti yé yín? Because it's a divide and conquer strategy. Torí pé tó bá ń kọ́kọ́ target àwọn Christian, àwọn Muslim population yẹn, they are going to be silent. Wọ́n ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ nípa àwọn ògbọ́n tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ torí wọ́n máa ń ríra wọn as a Muslim brotherhood. Ṣó ti yé yín? Tó bá ti brainwash àwọn Muslim population within a nation, tó ti brainwash wọn pé Mùsùlùmí ni wá, we know our brothers and sisters in Islam. Tó bá ti kó kíní yẹn sí wọn ní ọpọlọ, ìyẹn mi pé ọmọ wa lè máa ṣe bí fún àwọn tó kù. So tó bá dẹ̀ ti ń ṣe bí yẹn fún àwọn tó kù yẹn, àwọn Mùsùlùmí yẹn wọn ò ní fẹ́ dá sí, torí wọ́n máa wò pé àwọn Mùsùlùmí tó ń pa àwọn èèyàn wa, àwọn ìran wa yẹn, a lè dá sí torí pé Muslim làwa náà, àti pé Muslim dẹ̀ làwọn tó ń pa àwọn èèyàn yẹn, kò ń ṣàwa ló fẹ́ pa, àwọn Christian yẹn nìkan ló fẹ́ pa. Even furthermore, the Muslim demographic within those nations also get involved in it. They get used as tools. Ṣó ti yé yín? Wọ́n máa lo àwọn Mùsùlùmí tó wà lórí ilẹ̀ yẹn, wọ́n máa lò wọ́n, wọ́n máa fi wọ́n kúnra, wọ́n tún máa fi wọ́n pa ọmọ ìyá wọn. But tá bá wò, but that's not where the story ends. If we analyze, if we look at it from a historical with an historical lens, we are going to realize that is where it starts, but that's not where it ends. So and this is going to be revealing, and I hope we can get as many people involved today. So share about power tap so that we're trying to get as many people as possible involved in this one. Okay, so as I was saying, but that's not where the story ends. The story begins with the extermination of the Christian population. Ibẹ̀ ló sì máa ń bẹ̀rẹ̀, bọ̀ kò ń ṣe bẹ̀ ló máa ń pín sí, kò ń ṣe bẹ̀ ló máa ń tán sí. That is only stage one. Ṣó ti yé yín? That is only stage one. But tá bá wá ń wo àwọn ìlú bíi Libya, tá bá ń wo àwọn ìlú bíi Sudan, what's currently ongoing in Sudan, tó bá ti pa àwọn Christian yẹn tán, wọ́n ti already divide, wọ́n ti already, it's like a division of attack. Ìyẹn mi pé ọ̀nà ti wá clear láti wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa àwọn mùsùlùmí tó dákẹ́ nígbà tí wọ́n pa àwọn Christian yẹn. The Muslims that were silent, the Muslims that were quiet when the Christians are being exterminated, àwọn ọlọ́mọ wa kọjú sí in the end. Tó bá wá ti pa àwọn Christian yẹn tán, àwọn àràbù yẹn wọ́n á máa bọ̀ láti ìlú wọn, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iraq and so called and places like that. Wọ́n wá máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ wá sí, wọ́n wá máa jọba lórí ìlú yẹn. And they take it over. And we've seen that happen in Morocco. We've seen that happen in Egypt. We've seen that happen in Algeria. A dẹ̀ ti rí tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní Libya àti Sudan. So ẹ jẹ́ kí n break kíní down. Mo dẹ̀ ṣe bá Júnílọ́, mo ṣe bá àwọn àgbààgbà kí a rí ètò yìí ṣe ní àṣeyè àti àṣeyọrí o. So so let's go through it. So what are we talking about today? The topic of today's conversation is race-based extermination. Race-based what? Race-based extermination is what's really going on, disguised as religious conflict in Africa. But what's really going on is race-based extermination. It is only been disguised as religious conflict in Africa. And this is what's going on even in Nigeria. So tẹ̀síwájú. Okay, I'm going to have to lift this up a bit. So this is what I want people to realize, that there is a pattern which I've literally just unraveled, There is a pattern which I've just uncovered. And the hidden pattern is that everything that we see going on in Africa is simply race-based extermination, which is currently being disguised and historically disguised as religious conflict in Africa. Let's continue. So it is a deceptive narrative. So everything that we're hearing at the moment is very, very deceptive, but it is by design. It is by design to nullify or it's like a certain demographic. And this has been by design even from the beginning. It is not by accident that if we look across all African countries, during colonization, they always come in and they placed Christianity in the south of the country, and then they place Islam to the north of the country. Okay, that is only there to create a division, so that when they come back and they start attacking the Christians, the Muslims won't defend them. The Muslims won't do anything. Won't see the Christians that are now being exterminated as their brother. Remember, before colonization, before religion, all the people are one. All the people are always one before colonization and before religion. So when the religion comes in, it's with the purpose of separating them. Okay? So because it creates subgroups. So under the religious indoctrination, what happens is a nation that was once one, okay, split into fragments. And what the people that are seeking to exterminate them, what they start doing is they start targeting one group at a time. One group at a time. Usually, they start targeting the Christian demographic first. Tọ́wọ́ dẹ̀ ti ń target àwọn Christian yẹn, àwọn Mùsùlùmí, wọ́n á máa wò pé kò ń ṣàwọn ọlọ́pàá, àti pé àwọn tó ń bá wọ́n tún máa develop narrative pé the Christians are anti-Muslims. That's why they are being attacked. That's why they are being unalived. Wọ́n máa spread propaganda pé àwọn Christian yẹn, they are anti-Islam. So and that's then being used as the pretext for what? For attacking them. Okay? But like I said earlier, but that's where the story begins. It doesn't end there. Because if we're looking across Africa and we're looking at places like Egypt, like Morocco, like Algeria, like Libya in more recent times, and currently places like what? Places like what's it called? Places like Sudan, we see a very consistent pattern, right? That after the Christian population have been exterminated and driven out, then the same people who initially were saying Muslim Brotherhood, they turn their weapons. They start pointing it towards the Muslim population, because at that time the population that was once one, they have already been broken down into fragments. They've already been weakened. So what we see happening today in Sudan is basically the later stages of extermination after the Christian population has been wiped out. After the Christian population has been driven out, then they start facing the Muslims. This is how countries like Egypt and Morocco and Algeria become Arab countries. They become countries that we go to and we don't see black people there anymore. We don't see Africans there anymore. This is how it happens, my people. This is how it happens. You're thinking, how is it possible that they can wipe out a whole race from a country? This is how they do it. It's by first planting religion. After they planted the religion, then they come back and start attacking the Christians. After the Christian population has been wiped out, then they start facing the Muslims. Okay? And this is what happens. And that's the same thing that they are currently doing in Nigeria as well. Tabawo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà, nípa àwọn Christian yẹn gangan ló wọ́n target jù ní. Lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan wọ́n máa ń wo àwọn oko. They go into different localities from time to time. Muslims do get caught in the crossfire, but their primary target is always Christians. This is why we've seen more churches attacked than we see mosques. It is always about attacking the Christian population first. And while they're doing that, the Muslims are going to be silent about it. They're not going to say anything. And this is what we're seeing. But ultimately, in the end, they end up wiping out the Muslims as well. Because by the time they finish killing, unaliving the Christians, the population has been reduced to at least 40%. The population at that point has been reduced to 40 or 50%. And furthermore, they use the Muslim population as tools against the Christian population. So we are talking about a nation that was once one and united. They get split in two or more. Okay, they get split into two divisions or more. Then they start taking them out one division at a time. But whilst they do taking out the Christians, they recruit the Muslims to take out the Christian brothers and sisters. Okay? So religion is a system of extermination. When we start looking at it like that, foreign religion is a system of extermination. It is not by accident that they always go to one part of the country, they plant Christianity there, and they come to another part of the country, they plant Islam there. It is not by accident. This is by design. This is the formula that they utilize to wipe out for racial extermination. Let's carry on. So across Africa, countless conflicts are framed as religious wars, Christians versus Muslims. But when studied carefully, a pattern emerges, right? What the pattern reveals is that it is not about faith. It is about strategic extermination of African people, often along ethnic or racial lines. Why mask it as religion? You have to ask yourself, why do they pretend like it's a religious conflict? Because religion triggers global silence. When you say it's a religious conflict, most people don't sit up. Most people are not alarmed. The powers that be, the regional powers, they don't say anything. They just relax. When you say it's racial extermination, everybody have to listen. Everybody have to sit up. Because that reveals the true intention, the true agenda. But when it's termed as religious conflict, most people don't react. The powers that be, they don't react. It prevents Muslim-Christian unity. When you target only Christians in the first phase of the extermination, the Muslims are silent. The Muslims don't react. The Muslims, they don't go and help their brothers and sisters. Because at that point, they've been told that the Christians are the enemy. Which then provides plausible justification for global inaction. Let's continue. So, what are the historical references to what's going on? So, if we look at a few case studies, starting with Egypt, post-Nasser Egypt saw the suppression of African identity. Black Nubians were forcibly displaced and erased from the national story. That's what happens to Egypt in the post-Nasser era. They started suppressing African identity to the point where most people now, they don't even recognize Egypt as an African nation. Most people today, they don't even recognize Egypt as an African nation today. Okay? So most people don't even, when people go to Egypt, they go to Morocco, they don't even recognize that those were once 100% African nations. A lot of people go to Morocco today and they say, oh wow, Morocco is nice. You know, we like to go on holiday to Morocco. They've got good hospitality, blah, blah, blah. But we don't know that black people, as black people going to Morocco, it's like we're going to a country of snakes that once exterminated our people. We no longer recognize those countries as African nations. The Nubian population have been wiped out or forcibly displaced and erased from the national story. Okay, so post-Nasser Egypt saw the suppression of African identity. The black Nubians were forcibly displaced and erased from the national story. Ọ̀pá gbogbo wọn dànù ni àwọn tó ráyè escape tó gba Sahara, àwọn tó gba Sahara desert, àwọn tó lọ bá wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ tó pa wọ́n yàmàyàmá ni tó ti yẹ yín. Àwọn tó tún ráyè sásáwọn ìlú míì wọn bí wọn dákọ́ padà lọ síbẹ̀ sí Egypt pé ilẹ̀ bàbá wọn ni. So, which is why we're now in 2025 in the 21st century where people don't even recognize anymore that those were once African countries. To the point where àwọn tatu wa ń bá ṣe àmà báwọn Mùsùlùmí àmà àwọn Àràbù àmà báwọn ṣe, we are congregating with them, we look at them, we don't recognize them as our enemies. Everything that they do in every African country, there is a plan. And they're going from one country, once a country has been conquered, after that, the black population has been exterminated, then they move to another country. They move to the next. They move to the next. They move to the next. That is what they are doing. Okay? Which is why as Africans, we must be looking at the attack of one African country as an attack on all African countries, on our as an attack on our survival as a race. Because ultimately, they are just going around knocking one door at a time. They are eventually coming after us. Let's continue. I've got a lot of slides to go through. Another case study. Libya. Power tap. If you're watching us, whenever you're watching us, even if it's in the in the FYP, please share the live. Let's power tap. Share the live. Yeah, I'm not stopping. Even if it's just me, at least I know my YouTube audience, they're going to appreciate this when I'm done. So even if no one is following, no one is sharing, I'm going to continue doing this. When I finish it, I'll upload it for you on YouTube so that the people that are unable to join the live, they're still gonna catch up with it. But even if it's just me alone, I am still going to deliver this presentation. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Whoever's watching and sharing, I appreciate it. More fishing biraga, but this is going. The show, the show is gonna go on regardless. Okay, let's just be clear about that. Okay, because ultimately, if people who are watching this on live are not sharing, so I appreciate it. I want to lórí YouTube, maybe more come I appreciate it. To bá ti dé better. You understand? I'm not only doing it for the now in terms of the, this moment in now, this moment in time. I know that people will catch up with it, but I'm going to deliver the presentation and then I'm going to distribute it. But if we are able to get people on live, if we're able to share it and support the program, that's fantastic. But in the absence of that, the show is going to go on regardless, okay? So gbogbo àwọn tó máa ń sápamọ́ sórí FYP sápamọ́ síbẹ̀, but the show is gonna go on regardless. I just want to make that clear. Okay, so case study: Libya. Under Gaddafi, black Africans were recruited for Pan-African dreams. Under Gaddafi, we know about what happened under Gaddafi. He basically elevated the black population in Libya, even though the Arabs were there, but he protected the African population because he had a Pan-African agenda himself. He had a Pan-African ambition himself. He was trying to what? To unite, the black Africans under a unified currency. Okay. That's what Gaddafi was trying to do. So during the Gaddafi reign, especially post 2011, during the Gaddafi reign, he was protective of the African population. Okay, but however, when Gaddafi was taken out post 2011, what happened? African migrants were being lynched, enslaved, and exterminated. What does that tell us? Throughout history, every time the Arabs have a choice and they have the power and the domination of black people, throughout history, whenever they have a choice to let black people live and survive or to kill them, they have always chosen extermination. So Arabs are not the friends of African people. Ajogun, the Arabs. And Africans have to learn this. Okay? Africans have to learn this, that Arabs are not your friends, because whenever an opportunity presents for Arabs to either coexist with black people or to exterminate them, they have always chosen the latter. They have always consistently chosen extermination. They have always consistently chosen enslavement. Always throughout history. Àwọn kan máa pera wọn pé àwẹ̀ Yorùbá Muslim táwọn mọ̀ pé orí yìí ti kú ni, mọ̀ ìtàn yìí, mọ̀ history yìí ni. I can promise you, and I stand on this, there is no way an African understand their history that it's impossible for an African to understand their history and still practice Islam. Impossible. That's the definition of oxymoron right there. You have got a race committed to basically exterminating you, that have actively engaged in your extermination, and you are telling yourself that, you want to worship the same God as those people. It's impossible. It's impossible. When everything that they're doing to you is inspired by their so-called God, so-called Allah. You know what I'm saying? So black people, we really need to wake up, because we've got enough case studies, we've got enough examples around us, which shows the Arab who they are and what they are. It is us who are refusing to comprehend the information in front of us. The Arabs have always shown to African people who they really are. It is us who are refusing to believe them. Okay? So, Africa, we have to wake up. Another case study in Algeria. Arabization campaigns suppress the Amazigh and the sub-Saharan African cultures in Algeria. To the point where if you go to Algeria today, you're hardly going to see any African people, any black people. They've been exterminated and they've been forced out. These were once 100% African nations. Okay? Arabization campaigns suppress the Amazigh and the sub-Saharan African cultures to the point of extermination. So there was a bit of a pushback though. At some point called the Berber Spring. But the process was crushed ultimately because Algeria were getting support from countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, and countries like the UAE. And that's what happens everywhere. If you look at what's happening in Sudan today, who's funding the extermination of the Sudanese? UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. But when are Africans going to wake up? And we still have African people by the millions going on pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia every year. The same nation that's been committed to your extermination for centuries. So when are we going to wake up as a people? Nígbà wo la máa tají pé àwọn tá à ń wò àwọn àràbù burúkú yìí ọ̀tá wa gangan lọ́jẹ́, ọ̀tá àwọn bàbá wa lọ́jẹ́, ọ̀dẹ̀ sì ń dìtẹ̀ wá dọjọ́ òní. Àwọn tó fẹ́ pa wá rẹ́ gangan nìyẹn. Let's continue. The next case study, Sudan. What do we see happening in Sudan today? Bàbá mi general, bàbá mi nìyẹn o. Mo ṣe bá Juni lọ o, mo ṣe bá bàbá àgbàlagbà ṣe dáadáa ni. Thanks for the gift o, mo mọ̀ lórí o, ọwọ́ ìyá máa ròkè. Kò ní tọ́ níbi tẹ́sí mu lágbára Èdùmàrè ní mọ̀sálẹ̀ àpò. So thanks for the gifts, thanks for the gifters. Saeed Ashela. Thanks for the gift as well, much appreciated. Bàbá mi.
About your brother Leo.
Ogba Toba mi ṣe dáadáa ni o, mo ṣe bá Juni lọ o, bàbá àgbàlagbà.
Ade, mo apa. Nice one, good program, man. I'm here.
Ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ wà pẹ̀lú wa lónìí, Èdùmàrè á wà pẹ̀lẹ́ yín náà, ẹ ṣeun.
Àṣẹ Èdùmàrè, àṣẹ.
Ẹ ṣeun. Okay, ẹ ṣì wà pẹ̀lú wa náà. Okay, thank you. Ẹ jẹ́ àmà bẹ́tò lọ́gbà ẹ ṣeun o. Yeah. So gbogbo ilé ìjọba mi check my power tap. So yeah, basically, okay, let's look at this the case study for Sudan. Again, what was going on in Sudan initially was being framed as religious conflict, right? It was being framed as a religion-based civil war. Muslim versus Christian was what they called it initially, okay? But after the Christian population had been wiped out, what happens? Then they started targeting the Muslims as well. Then the real Arabs. African people like to pretend like they're Arabs when they're Muslims, right? When they're Muslims, Islam, they like pretending like they are Arabs now. You understand? But after the Christian population has been wiped out, what happens? May the real Arabs please stand up. Please stand up. Who remembers that Eminem song? May the real Slim Shady please stand up. What happens? What happens after the Christian population has been wiped out? What happens? Then the real Arabs start standing up, right? To what purpose? To the purpose of exterminating the remaining black population. Because by that point, they would have been reduced to at least maybe 40 or 50%. The rest is easy after that. Yeah. But the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. Show me. You know what I'm saying? For the Muslims who like to pretend like they're Arabs. The foolish Muslims who like to pretend like they're Arabs. After they finish wiping out your Christian brothers and sisters, You know, what happens after that? Then the real Arabs, please stand up, please stand up, please stand up. Then the real Arabs are going to come and wipe you out as well. Dummy. So that's what happens every time. And we've seen this blueprint being implemented in multiple countries. In multiple countries, we've seen it happen. In multiple. So when is the rest of Africa going to wake up? Are we seriously this blind and foolish? It should be obvious at this point. By now, this thing should be so obvious. For our relationship with our black Muslims. Don't you understand by now that it is that religion 100% at this point in time? It's so clear to me that religion was only put there to divide the people, because once the people are divided, they can be easily toppled, they can be easily conquered. So the purpose of religion in Africa is division. Is to fragmentize the population, to break them up into fragments, because people are more easily defeated, divided than they are when they have a union, when they have unity. You understand? Which is why they always plant the religion for different religions. After they've done that, then they start targeting the people that once saw each other as brothers and sisters. They start telling you, oh no, your Muslims are the Arab, your Muslim brothers are your brothers now. Your other black Christians, non-Muslims, they're no longer your brother. Then they start recruiting Muslim population to wipe out their brothers and sisters. But after that, what happens? Like we see happening in Sudan right now. Okay, sure. So yeah, like we see happening in Sudan right now. Long after they wiped out the Christians, what's happening now? Who are they targeting now? Is it not the Muslims that they're targeting now? So reality, systemic extermination of black Africans in Darfur, South Sudan, Nuba Mountains. That's what's happening now. But by the time they get down to this, it's already too late. It's already too late. Asijaki ajogun wọ̀lú torí I feel pé àwọn Christian nìkan ló wá pa. You see, the African man's selfishness is always to his downfall. It's always to his detriment. Okay, the African man's selfishness. The selfishness that religion indoctrination brings, it creates a dynamic of us and them. A people that were once united under their traditional customs start being divided into us and them. But when they finish with them, they're coming to you as well. And this is what the case study is revealing in places like Morocco, Egypt, Algeria, and Sudan. Okay? That's what happens. So what's going on in Darfur now, which we're still in Sudan? Genocide marked as jihad. We have people in Africa today, even in Nigeria, they are still waiting for jihad to be declared. Sorry, didn't hear you for come on. Okay. You know what I'm saying? We have absolute muppets.
Yeah, so that I can hear freeze line calling, so I have to go out and come back again. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you are you hearing me now?
Yeah, loud and clear. Right on, brother. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you're with us. So we have absolute, like muppets, donuts in Africa today. They are literally waiting for jihad to be declared in Africa so that they can kill they can unalive their own brothers and sisters. We've got them in Nigeria today, absolute donuts. Okay, so this is what happens. It's all about it was always about the genocide of African people. It's only been marked as jihad. And if the Nigerian Muslims, if they had any brain cells left in their thick skulls, They should be able to look towards places like Sudan, places like Egypt, places like Libya, places like Morocco, and be able to understand and unravel what's going on. By now, it should be clear that Islam is a scam. It's a genocidal agenda masked as religion. It should be clear right now. There are too many examples. There are too many examples for this to go unnoticed. Way too many examples. Okay? So what do we see going on in Darfur? It's basically genocide masked as jihad. The Janja with militias are terrorizing black African tribes. The world is calling it conflict, but it is not conflict. It is ethnic cleansing. So the propaganda war it's actually enabling it. So when we hear news channels calling it a conflict in Darfur, we should be castigating them. We should be challenging them. We should be telling them, no, it's not a conflict. It is an ethnic cleansing. It is ethnic cleansing. We should not be allowing that kind of narrative to be perpetrated. But we are allowing this. We are too silent in our own destruction. So our SEO they were brought into our nation to divide us so that we can be easily targeted and exterminated. Nígbà nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ni bí wọ́n ṣe ń lọ tó ń pa àwọn èèyàn káàkiri tó ń pa àwọn Christian Mùsùlùmí mélòó láti gbọ́ tó sọ̀rọ̀ against ẹ̀. How many àwọn àfáà yẹn láti rí kí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ against ẹ̀? Àwọn imam gbogbo wọn níbo ló wà nígbà tí táwọn bandits tí wọ́n lọ pa àwọn èèyàn káàkiri. This is what happens everywhere that Africans have been exterminated. It's the same pattern, it is the same formula. Okay, it is always the same pattern, the same formula. Okay, ẹ jẹ́ á tẹ̀síwájú. South Sudan, when unity fell apart, once united in the same struggle, internal divisions were later exploited to continue resource-driven extermination. The role of colonial what's this? Why is it not fitting the page? 1 second. Okay, yeah, it wasn't fitting into the screen. Yeah, so the role of colonial cartography, basically, so borders drawn to divide basically our relatives and kins. Okay, so that's what they do. Borders are drawn to divide kin, religious and ethnic fault lines imposed by colonial map makers, still inflaming tensions today. Everything is designed. Colonization is basically has the goal of eventual extermination. Once the structures have been established, once the religion have been established, they don't have to be there anymore. They just have to go back to their own country so that they can claim neutrality. They know that you will eventually wipe each other out. They know what they are doing when they come in and plant the religion. They know what they're doing. Because they don't want to take the outright blame for it, because in modern world, record matters, okay? PR matters. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the old where they could do something and, they could do it overtly, but these days it is through covert means, okay? But the Arabs, they use jihad as an excuse. You know what I'm saying? They use jihad as an excuse to carry out the wickedness that they've been planning all along. But if they can use jihad, it means they can recruit 40-50% of the same population that they're looking to exterminate. They can basically recruit 40 to 50% of that same population to wipe out to wipe out the rest, to wipe out their brothers and sisters. And after they've established that, then they come and wipe out and wipe out the Muslims as well. Rinse and repeat. Then they move on to the next country. This has been going on for generations. It's been going on for centuries. But when is black people gonna wake up to this thing? Huh? When is black people gonna wake up? When is Africans gonna wake up? When are they gonna wake up to this agenda? How long is it gonna go on for before we wake up? Or are we even ever gonna wake up? Because it's definitely obvious now. We live in a day in a day of information. Information is there's so much evidence out there. There's so much information out there for us for this to be going on unnoticed in this day and age. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust to get the perfect view. There is way too much information out there for what's going on to still be continuing unnoticed in this day and age. There's too much information out there. Okay? A kò ní láti máa lo ọpọlọ wa ni torí kíní yóò ṣe kò ṣòro rí now. It's not difficult to notice. It's not difficult to figure out and unravel. We just need to engage our brain. We just need to use our brain more. That's all we need to do. A kò ní láti máa lo ìrònú wa ká máa lo ìròrí wa ni. Kíní yóò le láti kò ṣòro rí. Kò ṣòro rí now. It should be obvious by now. Anyway, let me stop fiddling with the thing. So yeah. So basically that's where we are, and that's what's going on today. We are in a position of whereby some people have determined that we are surplus to requirement. Some people have decided that, it is their own life's mission to wipe out African people. And they've been embarking on this agenda for a very long time. But some of us, we go to Dubai. Some of us, we go to places like Dubai, don't we? Oh, Dubai is such a nice country. We go there, girls girls say it's now a thing with females to be telling their boyfriend, it's not a good boyfriend if he can't fly you to Dubai for a shopping escapade. He's not a complete man. Okay? A man is not complete these days. Particularly with Nigerian women. A man is incomplete if he's unable to, if he hasn't taken his girlfriend to Dubai on a shopping trip. Mọ̀ pé ìlú àwọn ọ̀tá wa là ń lọ nìyẹn ni. Mọ̀ pé àwọn ọ̀tá àwọn ìran wa, àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ pa wá rẹ́, àwọn là ń kówó wa fún nìyẹn ni. It's a thing of pride now as well for Muslims. To go to Saudi Arabia, until they Saudi, until lọ ṣe kí ló máa ń pè é, Hajj àbí Umrah. It's a thing of pride, your social status within your Muslim community gets elevated. Alhaji, Alhaja, Alhaja, ta dẹ̀ ti gbọ́ pé àlejò ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. A sì gbọ́ pé àlejò ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o, tourist ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Tourist ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin nìkan lẹ máa ń rí kíní as religious pilgrimage. Àwọn Arab wọn kì í rí yín as religious pilgrim. Wọ́n máa ń rí yín as what? Ẹrú Abid àbí Ọ̀zánjì. Abid ojú ẹrú ló máa fi ń wò yín o. Tó ti yé yín? But why tó ṣe jẹ́ pé àwọn tó ń pa wá rẹ́ látún lọ ń bá jókòó látún lọ ń bá yọ̀ yẹn. Là ń lọ bá wọn yọ̀, là ń lọ bá wọn sin àwọn ère wọn. Kíní yóò make sense. Kíní yóò make sense o. Gbogbo ilé ẹjọ́ bá wa power tap ẹ bá wa share o. Ẹ rí pé kíní yóò make sense at all. Ẹ jẹ́ àtẹ̀síwájú. Case study Nigeria, this one is right on our doorstep, isn't it? Ẹ má bá wọn sọ èèyàn mi. Máa bára wa sọ náà ni bàbá mi be nice. Ní choice. Ó ti ń súnmọ́lé tó bá ti àti pé bí wọn ò tiẹ̀ tètè dé Nàìjíríà tó bá ti pa gbogbo àwọn other African nations rẹ̀, Nigeria ó máa wà easy láti attack Nigeria now. Nǹkan tó yẹ káwọn èèyàn wá realize nìyẹn. pé tó bá ń parọ́ rẹ ní Sudan táwa ní Nàìjíríà tábà sọ kọ́kọ́ àwọn táwa ní Ghana lọ tábà sọ kọ́kọ́ nígbà tó bá wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń kọ ojú gbogbo àwọn kíní àwọn ìbọn àwọn àdó olóró yẹn tó bá ti ń kọjú ẹ̀ sí wa kò ní sí àwọn èèyàn tó lè wá jà fún wa mọ́ níbẹ̀ yẹn ti máa pa wọ́n rẹ́ tán. Kò ní sí, so Africans must be recognizing this. Africans must be recognizing this. That if we have non-Africans targeting any African, it should be a call to war for the rest of Africa. Tabari àwọn àràbù wèrè yẹn kọ́ máa pa àwọn èèyàn wa ní Sudan táwọn mọ̀ pé ìran wa ló wà ní Sudan ni àwọn aláwọ̀ adúláwọ̀ àmọ́ pé ìran wa ló wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Mọ̀ pé with every country tó bá ti destroy mọ̀ pé ọ̀tún màmá lágbára sí ni torí pé tó bá ti destroy tó bá ti pa gbogbo àwọn dúdú tó wà lórí ilẹ̀ yẹn gbogbo nǹkan bí ọrọ̀ gbogbo àwọn resources gbogbo àwọn minerals tó wà lórí ilẹ̀ yẹn ó ti jogún ẹ̀ ǹdẹ that means they can even afford more weapons. ṣé èèyàn ò ń yí àwa nípa ọ̀dọ̀ wọn kò sígbà tó ò ní dọ́dọ̀ tàwa náà kò sígbà tí wọn ò ní dọ́dọ̀ tàwa náà náà. So that's what's happening. Africans have to wake up. Àwọn Arab yìí bàbá ajogun ni wọ́n ọ̀tá wa ni wọ́n. Ọ̀tá adúláwọ̀ ni wọ́n. Wọ́n ọ̀dẹ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣọ̀tá wa nísìnyí láti for centuries now. The first enslavers of African people are what? Are Arabs. There shouldn't be any Africans walking around today claiming African Muslims. It should be like an abomination. It should be a taboo for an African to an Islam to coexist. Ṣé kò yé wa ni? At this particular point in time, ó yẹ káwọn adúláwọ̀ ká máa unite pẹ̀lú àwọn òyìnbó ike báwo la ṣe máa solve this Arab problem. Àwọn àràbù burúkú yìí àwọn tó bá dẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ máa ṣe black muslim lórí ilẹ̀ wa ó yẹ ká lọ máa jù wọ́n sínú òkun ni torí pé àwọn wèrè tó máa jẹ́ kó wá pa wá nìyẹn. Àwọn wèrè tó máa jẹ́ kó wá pa wá nìyẹn náà àwọn black muslims ò ṣì yẹ àwọn tó rí wọ́n ti kú tí wọ́n ti di ọ̀dàlẹ̀ sílẹ̀ bàbá wọn. Tó ti yẹ irú àwọn wèrè bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ó yẹ ká make rule lórí ilẹ̀ wa ike anywhere tá a bá sì gbọ́ pé èèyàn kan ṣe black muslim ó yẹ ká lọ máa mú wọn ká lọ máa jù wọ́n sínú omi ni ká lọ máa jù wọ́n sínú omi ni inú òkun ló yẹ ká lọ máa jùrú àwọn wèrè yẹn sí torí pé sí àwọn nǹkan tó ń bọ̀ yìí tó bá dé àwọn black muslims wèrè yẹn ló máa lò láti pa wá o àwọn yorùbá muslims wèrè yẹn ló máa lò láti pa wá o. Torí pé wọn ò lè sọ pé àwọn ò rí nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Sudan o wọn ò lè sọ pé àwọn ò mọ history Egypt o wọn ò lè sọ pé àwọn ò rí nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Libya o so ní ọjọ́ tèní tẹ́nìkan bá wá sí wàá sọ pẹ̀lú gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn if people are still claiming Yoruba Muslims black Muslims we should automatically see them as enemy of black people automatically because in reality that's what they are that's what history shows. Torí history ti show wa already. History ti show wa already. It is not by accident pé àgbọ̀gbọ̀ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ó ti pa wọ́n ní Ìlọrin o ó ti pa wọ́n ní church ń báyìí ó ti pa àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe nìkan lè máa gbọ́ tó máa sọ̀rọ̀ ní ilé gbọ́ káwọn Muslim jáde kó wá sọ̀rọ̀. Silence is what? Tacit approval. There is only two types of approval. There is overt approval or silence or tacit approval. Tá bá ń gbọ́ sí nǹkan tó bọ̀ nǹkan ìkútà ìdá bá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tí àdẹ̀ lè jáde wá sọ̀rọ̀ sí ìyẹn mi pa àwọn àgọ́ agree nìyẹn. So Muslims are demonstrating what? Tacit approval of the extermination of African people. Tó ti yẹ yín rí báwọn ìmáàmù yẹn ṣe máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ ni. àti wèrè yẹn mo ò sí ẹ̀ morúkọ imam tó máa ń wọ́ lẹ́nu yẹn tó máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ jihad ní gbogbo ìgbà yẹn. èèyàn tó bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ jihad lórí ilẹ̀ wa ṣó yẹ ká dúró kí jihad dé ká tó lọ yí wèrè yẹn lọ́rùn ni. ṣó yẹ ká máa dúró ni ṣó yẹ ká dúró ìgbà tó bá lago pé ogun ti wá dé o. irọ́ irú èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ó yẹ ká ti lọ yanjú ẹ̀ torí ó máa ń preach ẹ̀ every time ló máa ń preach jihad ó dúró de jihad kó wá ṣẹlẹ̀ kó wá pa àwọn èèyàn kó wá pa wá lórí ilẹ̀ wa. irú àwọn black muslims bẹ́ẹ̀ ó yẹ ká ti lọ yí wọn lọ́rùn kò yẹ ká máa dúró kí ogun dè náà èèyàn tó ti ń declare jihad bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí ilẹ̀ wa. We have to be strategic about this thing. Kini is serious. This will not go away. We are going to have to face this. It's a question of whether we're going to have to face this from a position of power, or we're going to face this with hands tied and what? Facing downwards. Just saying our last prayers. So that àpẹẹrẹ ti wà káàkiri already now. If we look at what transpired in Egypt, taba wo nǹkan tó transpire ní Algeria, taba wo nǹkan tó transpire ní Morocco, taba rí bó ṣe ń lọ ní Libya lẹ́nìí, taba rí bó ṣe ń lọ ní Sudan lẹ́nìí, ó ti sure nǹkan tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nigeria náà, ó ti sure bàjẹ́. It is only a matter of time. It is the same formula that's been used everywhere. You understand? There is nothing strange about what's going on. So irú àwọn wèrè tó máa ń preach jihad káàkiri yẹn ṣó yẹ ká wá dúró fún tọ́dẹ̀ wà lórí ilẹ̀ wa ṣó yẹ ká dúró kógun dé pátápátá ká tó lọ yí irú wèrè yẹn lọ́rùn ni. Those kind of people, we have to remove them torí they're like cancer. Don't spread the mentality yẹn across our land. Lè máa dúró kírú àwọn wèrè yẹn kọ́ máa ṣe é gbé náà. Ṣé àmọ́bi tó ń gbé ni àmọ́bi tíyàwó ẹ̀ ti máa lọ ro oúnjẹ ni tó bá ti lọ sọ́jà ni àmọ́bi tí àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀tọ́ ti máa lọ léèwé ni. Those kind of cancer cannot be allowed to exist in our midst torí pé every day ló máa wá preach jihad. Every time tábà tún máa rí post bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn ní wíìkì ọ̀rọ̀ jihad ló máa sọ. Lórí ilẹ̀ wa ni o kò sọ pé òun fẹ́ lọ sí Saudi Arabia, Qatar or ilẹ̀ Arabu láti lọ jà jihad o. No, he's talking about jihad in our own land, wiping out African people, wiping out Yoruba people, wiping out Nigerians. That's what he's talking about. Then how can that kind of person be allowed to walk around in Nigeria unscathed? Our pacifism is going to be our downfall. Tá a bá dìde sí nǹkan tó ń bọ̀ yìí. Tá a bá dìde sí nǹkan tó ń bọ̀ yìí. By the time tí kìíní máa fi wọlé tán ó ti máa wà too late o. If we don't wake up to what's going on, by the time it germinates fully, by the time it reaches its peak, it's going to be too late. Lè máa jẹ́ kí ọ̀tá máa rìn láàrin wa kọ́ dẹ̀ máa yanjú kọ́ máa lọ re kọ́ máa bọ̀ re láàrin wa in our midst on our land. Irú wèrè yẹn kí ló ń pè é? Mo ń gbọ́ tẹ́nìkan kọ́mẹ̀ntì kankan kí lẹ kọ́mẹ̀ntì bẹ́ẹ̀ bá mi. Ìwò irú àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ó yẹ kọ́ máa lọ máa broadcast nílẹ̀ àràbù ni. It should not be safe for them to be in Nigeria pẹ̀lú gbogbo nǹkan tó máa ń broadcast yẹn. It should not be safe. Rí nígbà Osama bin Laden ni ṣebí nínú mountain of kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ in the mountain ní Afghanistan ni Osama bin Laden ti máa lọ make àwọn broadcast yẹn kò ń ṣe pé nínú America ló ti ń ṣe náà. Èèyàn target ilẹ̀ yín target ìran yín ó tún wà lórí ilẹ̀ yín ló ti ń broadcast ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ ń lọ re ó dẹ̀ ń bọ̀ re àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ ń lọ re ó ń bọ̀ re àwọn ìyàwó ẹ̀ ń lọ re ó ń bọ̀ re lórí ilẹ̀ wa. When are we going to wake up? Kini yóò make sense now? Even tó bá tiẹ̀ jáde yẹn even tá bá fẹ́ pa adìyẹ máa ń jàporó díẹ̀ adìyẹ máa ń tẹ̀ láti gbára ilé díẹ̀ now. We are now in a position pé àwa ta tún wá jẹ́ èèyàn we are now worse than adìyẹ. Èèyàn fẹ́ pa wá ṣó nígbà tó bá gbé ọ̀bẹ sí wa lọ́rùn tán ni. Ṣé gbogbo nǹkan tó ń preach gbogbo àwọn jihad tó ń pariwo ẹ̀ ṣé èèyàn ò tó àbí? Èèyàn ò ń ṣe enough signal àbí? so ìyẹn ò ń ṣe enough signal, enough notice, enough heads up ń pé ọ̀nbọ̀ ṣé announcement yẹn ò tó àbí ó dìgbà tọ́bẹ̀ yẹn bá ti dọ́rùn wa tán ká tó ta jẹ́ àbí. Then that means we are worse than chicken nìyẹn now. These people, they have signaled their intention and they continue to broadcast their intention almost on a weekly basis. Adẹ̀jókòó síbẹ̀ ọ̀dẹ̀ ń ṣe lọ àdẹ̀ṣe kankan sí àsọmọ Yorùbá. Kíní yóò make sense o. Gbogbo àwọn tó invite Gumi wá sí Ìbàdàn yẹn ó yẹ ká ṣe máa gbọ́ pé ó lọ rí orí wọn nínú òkun kan àbí nínú ọ̀sà kan pé ó lọ rí wọn tó kò tẹ́ ká ṣe á máa sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ó yẹ ká máa gbọ́ after the fact ló yẹ ká máa gbọ́ pé gbogbo ìran àwọn tó invite Gumi wá sí Ìbàdàn yẹn ó yẹ ká máa gbọ́ pé ó rí wọn ní tó ń float níbì kan ni kò tẹ́ yẹ ká máa sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí pé kí la máa ṣe fún wọn irọ́. Ó yẹ kó sì wà ṣúọ̀ bàjẹ́ pé akọ̀ máa gbọ́ pé àwọn tó sọ̀rọ̀ lára àwọn tó ń invite Gumi wá sórí Ìbàdàn yẹn gbogbo àwọn òṣèlú yẹn gbogbo àwọn kinní yẹn wọ́n máa rí wọn tó máa ń float nínú òkun ni. Orí wọn wọ́n máa lọ rí orí níbi ẹ̀yẹn ẹsẹ̀ wọn ìlú mi lọ ti lọ rẹ́sẹ̀ wọn nǹkan tó yẹ ká máa gbọ́ sí nìyẹn. In any nation, treason is punishable by capital punishment. In any nation. Treason in any nation is punishable only one way. Baba ńlá treason nìyẹn náà. Àwọn tó gbé Gumi wá sórí Ìbàdàn baba ńlá treason nìyẹn. Irú àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn kò yẹ kó tún lè wà láàrin wa mọ́ kí wọ́n máa lọ́re kí wọ́n máa bọ̀re like it's all good. When are we going to wake up? Like I said, even tó bá fẹ́ pa adìyẹ ṣáà máa ń ju pa ó máa ń ju sí ó máa ń ṣàn láti ó máa mi orí ó máa pariwo wíkẹ́ má pa mi ẹ má pa mi. Àwa wá di ọ̀dẹ̀ pátápátá tó yẹ pé a mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ máa pa wá. Ọdẹ ń lọ ọdẹ ń bọ̀ kankan ò dẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n challenge wọn ṣe anything a kàn máa wá sọ̀rọ̀ lórí online ni and it's so safe the country is so safe for them. Ọdẹ ń lọ rí ọdẹ ń bọ̀ rí ọdẹ make jihad post undeclare jihad every day ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ and we're not doing anything about it. Kí ni yẹn ò make sense now? Ẹ jẹ́ àtẹ̀síwájú. So what's going on in Nigeria today? Again, it is being framed as Boko Haram ọ̀pá àwọn Christian. Yet, thousands of Hausa Muslims were also fined for being too moderate or too black. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ní North? Ìgbà tó pa àwọn Christians tán kí ló ṣe fáwọn Hausa tó kù? Ọ̀pá wọn ó gé wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ wọ́n máa parọ́ pé ẹ ti jalè wọn ò jẹ́ kó lọ sọ́jà wọn ò jẹ́ kó lè jẹun wọ́n wá máa parọ́ pé ń jalè wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gé wọn lọ́wọ́ wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gé wọn lẹ́sẹ̀. Gbogbo wa la máa wò ó gbà yẹn pé kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tó pa àwọn Haúsá yìí tó bá ti wá láti ìlú wọn kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣé disease ló ń ṣe wọ́n ni ara wọn ò pé rí ààbò ara ló máa fi wá tọrọ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá náà àwọn tó survive nìyẹn náà. Rí pé gbogbo ọlọ́mọ ń bèèrè ńgbà yẹn ni kí ó ṣe máa ń jà Haúsá yìí aláàbọ̀ ara ni wọ́n kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣé polio ló ń ṣe wọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ ni irọ́ kò ń ṣe polio Islam ni. Ìgbà kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ táwọn Haúsá yìí ṣe máa ń jẹ́ aláàbọ̀ ara báyìí what's going on? Tá bá ti rí wọn tó máa ń jẹ́ beggar how come they are always like disabled aláàbọ̀ ara ni wọ́n how come? Mọ̀ pé àwọn tó survive extermination nìyẹn ni. Àwọn tó survive extermination nìyẹn náà torí ẹ̀ la ṣe máa ń rí wọn lórí ilẹ̀ wa àwọn tá máa ń rí lórí ilẹ̀ wa tó yẹ kó máa wá tọrọ jẹ máa wá tọrọ mu yẹn torí ẹ̀ la ṣe máa ń rí wọn àsálábò ara ìkan táwọn mùsùlùmí àwọn Fúlàní yẹn ṣe fún wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn nìyẹn kò ń ṣe gbogbo wọn lọ́jà le but àwọn tó survive nínú wọn ààbò ara lọ́ fi escape. Mọ̀ pé ìyẹn ń tọ́ka sí nǹkan tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ fún wa ní orí ilẹ̀ wa tí if we are too passive tá a bá dìde sí nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn tí a bá dìde if we don't get angry enough to start defending ourselves by all means necessary that's the future that's awaiting us. You understand? That's the future that awaits us if we don't do anything about it. So bó ṣe parọ́ pé Boko Haram versus Christians ìgbà tó pa àwọn Christian ìtàn ní north kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn Muslim ń bẹ̀? Ṣùgbọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa àwọn náà ni for either they're too moderate wọn ò ṣe jihad bó ṣe yẹ kán ṣe jihad or for being too black. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Àwọn Yorùbá Muslim tó máa ń pera wọn ní moderate Muslims nísìn nǹkan tó máa ṣe yín nìyẹn tó bá ní tó ń pa àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì tó ń pa àwọn ìran yín tẹ̀ ṣe kankan sí wọ́n sì ń bọ̀ wá pa ẹ̀yìn náà ṣèbí nǹkan tó ń ṣe everywhere else in Africa nìyẹn gbogbo àwọn case study tá a ti wò lónìí Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Libya and currently Sudan. Ṣó ti yẹ yìí? So wọ́n ti wá already bàbá mi Saheed Ashela sọ pé they all enter Yoruba land in lorries in their thousands every day and we sitting there not saying anything, not doing anything about it. So ó dìgbà tọ́bẹ̀ bá ti tí ìdá bá ti dé sọ́run wá pátápátá ká tó ṣe nǹkan kan sí àbí. We have to rise now, we have to stand up now is the time now. Before it is too late. Tó bá ti pa àwọn Christian tán yẹn mi pé they've eliminated for at least 40% of Nigerian population here. So instead of us rising up as 100% of the population, that means we would only have about 40% left to fight for our nation. Half of the of the force of the military of the defense that we are supposed to have. Half wọn ló máa ti parẹ́ by that time. So that means our effectiveness would be what? Would be halved. Our chances of survival would have been halved by that time. Nísìn la gbọ́dọ̀ dìde. Nísìn la gbọ́dọ̀ dìde. Lè máa dúró. Otherwise it would be too late. Mo kí gbogbo ilé o, mo ṣe bá dún nílọ o, ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ wà pẹ̀lú wa lónìí o, mo ṣe bá gbogbo ẹ̀yin àgbààgbà bàbá mi general ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ wà pẹ̀lú wa lónìí, Èdùmàrè á wà pẹ̀lú yín, bàbá mi Saheed Ashela, mo ṣe bá dún nílọ ṣé dáadáa ní sàì, ìyá mi tí kí make over, thanks you ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ wà pẹ̀lú wa lónìí, ẹ kú àtàtàárọ̀, Èdùmàrè á wà pẹ̀lú yín o, ọmọ aládé mo mọ̀ ṣé bàbá mi nìyẹn àbí ìyá mi ẹgbọ́n òsókè ká mọ̀ bóyá ọkùnrin ni àbí obìnrin o ká mọ̀ bóyá ìyá mi nìyẹn àbí bàbá mi ẹjọ́ ẹ mọ̀. So yes, we have to pay attention to what happens in the north. Torí pé àwọn Christian lọ kọ́kọ́ sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ wá pa àgbà tó wá pa àwọn Christian tó kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ọwọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa àwọn Muslim tó pera wọn ní moderate Muslims yẹn ọwọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa wọn ọwọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa àwọn tó tún dúdú jù mẹ́rin kẹ́ irọ́ you're too black you're too African. Nílé trust wọn nílé trust àwọn ilé yìí. It is not by accident okay, most of the time tá bá rí pé ní north ń sìn gbogbo àwọn òṣèlú wọn tá máa ń fipá Hausa ni wọ́n irọ́ Fúlàní ni wọ́n ti pa gbogbo àwọn Hausa tó wà ń bẹ̀ kúrò ń bẹ̀. Àwọn aláàbò ọ̀rá tá máa ń ní lórí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yẹn ní Yorùbá land yẹn ní south west yẹn àwọn tó survive nìyẹn kò ń ṣe polio ló sọ wọ́n da aláàbò ọ̀rá àwọn Fúlàní wèrè ló sọ wọ́n da aláàbò ọ̀rá náà. We have to wake up to what's going on before it is too late, and it is almost too late. It is almost too late. Right now, strategically, countries like Nigeria should be looking at what's going on in Sudan. Kó yẹ ká sì mọ̀ pé nísìnyí la gbọ́dọ̀ dìde sí àwọn Fúlàní yìí because tá bá dìde sí wọn sìn tó bá ti ṣetán ní Sudan, the signs are already there kí Nigeria lọ ń bọ̀. At least whilst they are still divided, wọ́n sì ń pa wọ́n ní Sudan, so they cannot concentrate 100% on Nigeria yet. Ó yẹ ká take advantage of their divided attention ká dìde sí wọn sìn torí gbogbo àwọn tó ń pààyàn Sudan yẹn tó bá ṣe tán gbólọ́bọ̀. Burkina Faso ti gbara wọn lẹ̀ àwọn tí bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń protect ra wọn. Mali ti ń protect ra wọn. Niger ti ń protect ra wọn. Wọ́n ti gbara wọn lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ France, wọ́n ti gbara wọn lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ àwọn USA. Gbogbo àwọn tó ń jẹ́ káwọn terrorists máa wọ̀lú wọn irọ́ àwọn kan tí ń ṣọ̀lú wọn wọ́n ti ń gba training lọ́dọ̀ Russia. They are now more equipped and more effective at what? At keeping the terrorists away from their land. But Nigeria, we are not in that position yet. Akànjẹ́ kọ́ máa wọlé sí wa lára. àwọn tí wọ́n pa wọ́n ní Sudan yẹn tí wọ́n bá ṣe tán Nàìjíríà ló ń bọ̀ o. Àwọn tí wọ́n pa wọ́n ní Sudan lẹ́ni tí wọ́n bá ṣe tán ká tó dìde Nàìjíríà ló ń bọ̀ á dẹ̀ máa rí o. Okay, so when they finish with one side, they always go after the other side. Always, always. So the media is complacent in this. Torí àwọn Qatar, àwọn Saudi Arabia, all pump owó sínú media, so wọ́n fi control narrative. Western media amplifies the religion narrative. It is now about religion. Irọ́ tó ń pa nìyẹn. Rarely mentions ethnic cleansing or anti-blackness beneath the motivation, beneath the agenda. They never mention it. Torí àwọn àràbù wèrè yẹn all pump owó sínú Western media láti máa suppress any narrative tó lè expose pé anti-blackness ló fi ń jà ọ̀njà láti pa àwọn adúláwọ̀ ọ̀njà láti pa wá rẹ́ ló fi ń ṣe gbogbo kìnìyẹn. It's not about religion. They're just hiding behind religion. Ṣó ti yẹ yín ọ̀n sanwó fáwọn ìyá àwọn yẹn ti jẹ́ dodo wọn ò lè sọ dodo. Àmọ́ kí Western media we know it's always by the highest bidder ni. Ṣó ti yẹ yín àwa la máa ní láti gbóhùn wa sókè. Àwa la máa ní láti gbóhùn wa sókè pé this is never about religion. Irọ́ àwọn adúláwọ̀ ló ń pa tó bá pa Christian tó bá jẹ́ dúdú adúláwọ̀ ló pa ní máa sọ pé mú Christian ló pa irọ́ forget about that. Tẹ́nìkan kan tó bá wá pa adúláwọ̀, we should not say that Christians are being killed. No, we should say black people are being killed. Black people have been unalive. That's what we should be talking about. And the rest of us, whether we are Christian, Muslims or Oníṣẹ̀ṣe, we should not be quiet. Tó bá ń pa àwọn aláwọ̀ dúdú. Why are we silent? Nígbà tó ń pa àwọn aláwọ̀ dúdú ṣáà mọ̀ pé ara wa ni wọ́n ni àwọn ìran wa nìyẹn náà. Kí gbogbo wa tó gba ẹ̀sìn òṣì sórí. Ṣèbí ìkan náà ni gbogbo wa tẹ́lẹ̀. So tá bá gbọ́ tó ń pa wọ́n ìpè kìnnìkan tí media agency kankan bá sọ pé Christian, it's not Christian. Christianity is not a race. We should come out and challenge them like, no, it is not Christians that were unalived. It is black people that were unalived. It is African people that were unalived. Gbogbo àwọn religious focus narratives here, we have to start destabilizing them. From now on, lè máa jẹ́ kọ́ máa sọ́pọ̀ sábẹ́ religion. It happens in peace too, not just war zones. So the migration policy, for instance, urban planning, for instance, Tamafin suppress the black population, access to language and land. Why it matters? Until we name it correctly, we cannot resist it correctly. Let me read that one more time. Until we name it correctly, we cannot resist it correctly. This is anti-African warfare, cloaked in theology. It is not about theology. It is not about religion, but they are just hiding behind it because for as long as it's being framed as a religious conflict, people will continue to go to sleep. At least half of the population will go to sleep. Christian, Christian, Muslim. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to wake up to this. We cannot allow that narrative to continue. Because that's the cloak that they are hiding behind. So gbogbo wa la máa ní láti máa lo voice wa àti gbogbo àwọn media wa gbogbo àwọn platform wa tá bá ti ń gbọ́ tó ń sọ irọ́ àmàjáde máa ní kí wọ́n pààyàn dúdú kò bá jẹ́ Borno State kò bá jẹ́ Akwa Ibom kò bá jẹ́ Ondo aláwọ̀ dúdú ló ń pa. It should be a concern to the rest of us. And I'm not only talking about the rest of Africa. Bí wọ́n ṣe pa wọ́n ní Nigeria, bí wọ́n ṣe pa wọ́n ní Sudan yẹn, it should be a concern to the rest of Africa. It should be a concern to the rest of what? To the rest of black people, even in the diaspora. Ó yẹ ká máa dìde sáwọn Àràbù. By now, ó yẹ ká máa put pressure on the West, on every country to be putting a sanction on Arabs. right now fún nǹkan tó ń ṣe ní Libya àti Sudan yẹn but àṣẹ kankan akọ̀dákẹ́ síbẹ̀ like we are accepting of it. A dẹ̀ ń rí àwọn ọ̀tá wa a dẹ̀ bá wọn ṣe à ń bá wọn ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé wọ́n ń ṣọ̀tá wa. Àwọn tó ń wá bó ṣe máa pa wá rẹ́ nìyẹn náà. Sherry, Arabs has nothing to do with Egypt. I believe you're trying to say Baba mi Said Ashila. And so Arab has nothing to do with Egypt. But they've taken over Egypt completely. Yes. They've taken over Morocco completely. They've taken over Libya completely. They are in the process of taking over Sudan completely. Eventually, they will come to Nigeria. Also, already set the ground in Nigeria already. Baba mi Taiwo Banuso sọ pé it is a concern, but it has been given religious coloration 100%. But we have to uncolor it. We've all got voices. We've all got platforms. Gbogbo wa la ní Facebook, la ní TikTok, la ní Instagram. Gbogbo wa la máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dìde ń bẹ̀. Every day we should be highlighting it. We should be highlighting it. Our Arabu Buruki, we should be making it difficult for them to be able to hide. They are currently hiding underneath our silence. At the moment, they are hiding behind our silence. It should not be happening like that. Kò lè dákẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ dẹ̀ máa pa àwọn ọ̀ràn wa lọ kọ́ máa pa wọ́n rẹ́ káàkiri. Ìgbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní Egypt ẹnìkankan ò dìde fún wọn. Ìgbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní Morocco ẹnìkankan ò dìde fún wọn. Ìgbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní Libya ẹnìkankan ò pariwo. Ìgbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ ní kí ló ń porúkọ níbẹ̀ tó ń pa wọ́n ní Sudan. Níbo ni ECOWAS wà? Àwọn ECOWAS dà lẹ́nìí. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? What happened to all of that? What happened to ECOWAS? What happened to ECOWAS today? When I was growing up, tí nǹkan bá ti ń ṣaláwọ̀ dúdú ní because ṣùgbọ́n ECOWAS ló ń gbà wọ́n lẹ̀. But this year, àgbọ́pa ECOWAS mọ́, we should all be raising these questions. Every country, we should be asking our own leaders, gbọ́kàn pa àwọn èèyàn wa ní Sudan, kí lẹ̀ ń ṣe sí? Ìyẹn bí kí tó bá fẹ́ wá pa wá náà àwọn Sudanese ò ní dá sí nìyẹn, àwọn àwọn Ghana ò ní dá sí nìyẹn. ECOMOG ECOMOG ẹ ṣeun bá mi. Last baba, thank you, it's ECOMOG lóòótọ́, thanks for the correction. ECOMOG ni mò ń tọ́ láti sọ. Ìyẹn bí kí tó bá yàwó ìlú tiwa, àwọn other African countries wọn ò ní dá sí, wọn ò ní sọ̀rọ̀ nìyẹn náà. So we can no longer afford to be quiet about this. Àti pé àwọn wèrè tó sì pera wọn ní Muslim láàrin wa tó dẹ̀ rí destruction tó rí death and destruction tí táwọn Muslim ń cause lórí ilẹ̀ Africa lórí ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Gbogbo àwọn tó ń pera wọn ní Muslim ó yẹ ká máa separate ra wa sí wọn, ó yẹ ká máa rí gbogbo Mùsùlùmí as apààyàn. Now ojú apààyàn ló yẹ ká máa fi wo everybody tó bá pera wọn ní Muslim now. It is so clear. We can no longer be passive about this. From now on, what religion do you practice? Muslim. Apààyàn yẹn kúrò bíbá àfẹ́ ní sàkárì wa. That's what it should be right now. We're not saying it. It's not based on any speculation. No, it's based on the history. It is based on the history. Irú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe Mùsùlùmí ní Egypt tẹ́jẹ́ kọ́ pa gbogbo àwọn adúláwọ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn nìyẹn. Irú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe Mùsùlùmí ní Morocco tẹ́jẹ́ kọ́ pa gbogbo àwọn adúláwọ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn nìyẹn. Irú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe Mùsùlùmí ní Egypt tẹ́jẹ́ kọ́ pa gbogbo àwọn adúláwọ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn nìyẹn. Irú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe Mùsùlùmí ní Algeria tẹ́jẹ́ kọ́ pa gbogbo àwọn adúláwọ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn nìyẹn. Àwọn ò fẹ́ kẹ́ jẹ́ kó wá pa àwa bí ẹ̀yin báwọn Mùsùlùmí ṣe jẹ́ kó pa wọ́n níbẹ̀ yẹn. Ẹ̀yin kúrò láàrin wa. We don't want you in our midst. Apààyàn níyí. Ọ̀dàlẹ̀ níyí. Now kéèyàn kan sí pẹ̀rẹ̀ ní Yorùbá Muslim, it should be synonymous with apààyàn and ọ̀dàlẹ̀. It's no longer a laughing matter, you know. It is no longer a laughing matter. Àbá wọn ṣeré mọ́, àbá wọn fẹ́ yín òṣì kankan mọ́. This thing is gone beyond laughing matter now. Irọ́, it's about time to start drawing a line on the sand. Tẹ́mi bá gbọ́ pé ọ̀kan pera ẹ̀ ní Mùsùlùmí sí, èmi á máa wò pé tẹ́ni ìbá ráyè á pa mí. Tí ó bá ń ṣe nǹkan ló máa pa mí, á júwe lé mi sí fún àwọn àràbù kan wá pa mí. So èmi gan-an, bẹ́ẹ̀mi gan-an bí máa ṣe bí ẹni yàrá lògùn ń gbè bí ojú ti máa fi wù ẹ́ nìyẹn o. And any of my friends they know èmi ti ń já ticket fáwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi ẹ̀yìn ìwèrè. Ẹ ṣe ń ṣe Mùsùlùmí ní 2025 ìwọ ṣì ń pẹ́ra Muslim. Ó dà pórí ẹ̀ ti dàrú kọ́kọ́ sún mẹ́yìn fẹ́mi náà. Mo ò lè trust ẹ o. Kẹ́nìkan ṣe máa pẹ́ra ẹ̀ ní Yorùbá Muslim, Black Muslim ní 2025 pẹ̀lú gbogbo information tó wà níwájú wa. Ẹni náà ó ti ṣọ́ọ̀kì bàbá ọ̀dàlẹ̀ àti apààyàn, ojú apààyàn, ojú ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ló yẹ ká máa fi wọ àwọn wèrè yẹn sìn o. We can no longer be laughing with them. It's no longer a laughing matter. It's no longer a joking matter. We have to be very, very militant about àwọn wèrè yìí sìn ni o. Lè máa jẹ́ kó máa wà ní àgbègbè wa mọ́ o. Àtọ́ àwọn Yorùbá Muslim sìn, ó yẹ ká máa lé wọn lọ sí north ni. Ó yẹ ká máa lé wọn lọ sí north torí tó dà tó gún bá dé, a mọ̀ pé at least àwọn tó kù lórí ilẹ̀ wa wọ́n ń ṣe ọ̀tá wa, we can trust them. A lè sọ pé okay, ẹ jẹ́ a form wall báyìí, ẹ jẹ́ a form perimeter báyìí, ẹ jẹ́ a form defence báyìí, tó ti yé yín. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe pa àwọn ọlọ́run níbi tá a ti sọ pé ìwọ máa ṣọ́ bẹ̀yẹn kí n máa ṣọ́ bí wèrè Mùsùlùmí Yorùbá Muslim ló máa dàbọ̀ bòmí látẹ̀yìn. Tóró ti fẹ̀sìn gbà bọ̀dẹ̀. So this thing is now is a question of survival now. Lè máa bá wọn fẹ̀yìn mọ́ sìn. They have to denounce ẹ̀sìn burúkú tí wọ́n ń ṣe yẹn. Wọ́n máa láti gbé jùlẹ̀ pa àwọn ò ṣe mọ́ pa. Àwa náà sì rí bó ṣe ń pa wọ́n ní Sudan. Àmọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ ni. Bọ̀ á sì rí àwọn ètò MS Bàbá àti Olówó Èkó àti Àkànbí Ọlọ́ba. Wọ́n ti jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé ọ̀dàlẹ̀ àwọn pípì wọ́n fẹ́ wá fi ẹ̀sìn yẹn pa wá nì. Wọ́n fẹ́ wá fi ẹ̀sìn yẹn gbalẹ̀ wá, wọ́n fẹ́ wá fi pa wá rẹ́ nì. Adẹ̀sí wá mọ̀ sí. So àwọn ò bá wọn ṣe mọ́, àbá wọn ṣe ẹ̀sìn òṣì yẹn mọ́. Ọmọ Yorùbá ni wá o. Ó yẹ kí gbogbo wọn máa make declaration yẹn sìn ni. Otherwise ká máa lé wọn kúrò láàrin wa, ká máa lé wọn sí north. Ìpè yìí wèrè ẹ máa fìlú yìí lẹ̀ fún wa ni o. We have to be rising up against them now. It is so obvious. What's coming is so obvious. Nǹkan tó ń bọ̀. Ṣó ti yé yín? Kò yẹ káwọn pípì yẹn tún lè máa rìn láà. Ó yẹ nísìn. It is time to separate to go out to start separating the weed from the chaffs. It is time. Láti wá sọ pé òkè gbogbo àwọn wèrè tó ń ṣe àràbù Muslim ní area wa ìyá àfẹ́yìn lérí àyí mọ́ ẹ máa láti lọ síbi kan sódà at least tẹ bá ti ń yabọ̀ látọ̀ọ̀kan a máa mọ̀ pé ọ̀tá ni yín. Wọ́n ní pé tí ọ̀tá kí làwọn àgbà máa ń sọ ọ̀tá máa ń sọ àwọn àgbà máa ní pé tí ọ̀tá ilé ò bá pani tòde ò lè pani. Tó jọ bí òwe mu rẹ̀ ṣe bá yín àgbà wa. Àwọn àgbà máa ní tí ọ̀tá ilé ò bá pani tòde ò lè pani. Àwọn Muslim ti show pé àwọn ni ọ̀tá ilé. So àwa tó kù ló yẹ ká wá act accordingly. Ṣó ti yé yín? Àwọn Mùsùlùmí yìí ó ti ṣó pa wọn lọ́tà alẹ́ náà. Àwa tó kù ló yẹ ká process information yẹn, ló yẹ ká process message yẹn and act accordingly. This is no longer a laughing matter. Kò ní da fún ẹ MAR. Kò ní da fún àwọn tó ní ẹ ìwọ wèrè. Come up and tell me that nonsense. Come up and tell me that nonsense. Mo lè ti screenshots kí ni ẹ̀ máa lọ wo page ẹ̀ ìwọ wèrè. Ogun máa pa àwọn ọ̀ràn àwọn èèyàn ẹ níbi tó bá anywhere tẹ́ bá wà ni. This is no longer ọmọláfẹ́ èmi ò fi kí ni ìbá àwọn wèrè kan ṣeré mọ́. MAR, come and tell me that nonsense. So what were you saying in the comment?
I said you are sick in the head.
I said, so I said, your father, your sisters,
your sisters,
why did
you say your relatives that
it is said,
that what
not
you want
said.
to start doing.
Ogun máa pa àwọn ìran ẹni. Ìwọ àtàwọn ọmọ ogun máa pa gbogbo yín ni. O ní bí bá ti ṣe ò ní rọ́nà gbégbà. Kò ní dá fún ẹ.
You are seriously sick in the head.
Ogun máa pa ìyá ẹ.
Anyway, we are waiting for you. We are waiting for you down south.
Hope we find you first.
You are seriously sick in the head.
And I'm gonna check your page. I'm gonna find out about you. You pray.
Doesn't have anything on his page. His page is just like his fake page. Doesn't have anything on his page. They just open the page to go around to bully people. Doesn't have anything on his page.
Coward. I've got my picture on my page. That you flipping coward. You cannot even come with your real page. You coward.
They always go about with the fake profiles.
Yeah, you coward. I've got my photo on my page, you coward. You can go and check my page. My photo's there. You worry. You can't even be a man. You can't even come like a man. Nǹkan tá à ń sọ nìyẹn, àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ yẹn nìyẹn. Àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ àwọn tó gùn máa pa gbogbo ìran wọn.
Yoruba, continue with your talks.
This is no longer a laughing matter for me. We are waiting for you in the south. Don't worry. Hopefully we find you first. Ìwọ wèrè. Ní sùnre, ní jíire. Ìwọ wèrè. This thing is no longer a laughing matter because I'm seeing what's going on. I'm seeing what's going on in Sudan.
Can you please ignore him? Let's continue with the talk. Ignore him, please.
Okay. I ignore it. And I'm gonna go on your page.
It's nobody. He doesn't have anything on his page.
Okay.
Hopefully, nobody's talking.
Okay, so òkú èèyàn ni. Okay, àwọn ìyá mi ti sọ pé òkú èèyàn ni. Wọ́n ti kú sáyé already.
Àwọn tí ò ní nǹkan tí ò ní pa yẹn ni.
Ó máa rùn.
Destroyers.
Can
we just continue, please?
Those are the Yoruba impostors. They are impostors. Yorubas have been infiltrated so much without its impostors.
Imagine. This is no longer a laughing matter. I see what's going on and I know what's coming. Anyway, let's continue. So why it matters? Until we name it correctly, we can no longer allow the media to be calling it religious conflict because it's not a religious conflict. So our amani láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lo àwọn platform wa, amani láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lo àwọn voice wa to start calling it for what it is. This is extermination of African people. It is not a religious conflict. So le lanule kaka wọn lẹ́rán ká wá jẹ́ kó máa lo narrative yẹn kó máa fi wọlé sí wa lára because narrative yẹn is part of what they're using to be able to operate unchallenged. Lè jẹ́ kó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lo narrative yẹn lọ. Àti pé àwọn Mùsùlùmí rere 2025. Look, if there's anything that's any good that's come out of 2025 is that it is removed the benefit of the doubt. Fún àwọn Mùsùlùmí òṣì yìí, it is removed the benefit of the doubt. Ó ti bọ́ ṣòkòtò ń di wọn àti rídi àwọn wèrè. So now tẹ́nì kan bá wá sọ pé òun sì ń ṣe Yorùbá Muslim ká sì mọ̀ pọ́ ta wa nìyẹn ká sì mọ̀ pọ́ dàlẹ̀ nìyẹn ká sì mọ̀ pé apààyàn nìyẹn because tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ they were able to hide behind ignorance. But in 2025 ìtumọ̀ ti jáde, Islam ti cast, information ti jáde àti pé à ń rí àpẹẹrẹ ní Sudan, à ń rí àpẹẹrẹ nǹkan táwọn Mùsùlùmí fi àwọn adúláwọ̀ ṣe ní Libya. So there is no longer any ambiguity about what's going on. Kò sí hiding place mọ́. So orí MAR tó máa pa aṣọ yìí irú èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn kò yẹ kó lè wà láàrin wa mọ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Tó ti yẹ yìí kò yẹ kó irú àwọn wèrè yẹn. It's like it's time to say choose a side. This is where we are now. We are in a position where we have to tell them choose a side. Torí kété mi bá ní ọmọ ìyá tó bá ń jẹ́ Mùsùlùmí, lè jọ sunú ilé kan náà mi ìmọ̀gbà tó bá ti ọ̀bẹ bọ̀ mí lẹ́yìn náà. Mo mọ̀gbà tó bá náwó tó bá sọ fáwọn Fúlàní ké ilé tèmi nìyẹn náà. Tó ti yé, this is where we are now. You have to choose a side. It's a choose a side time láwa nísìn. You have to choose a side now. No more ambiguity. Tí kò bá máa pa mí, èmi máa ń là kó at least kó máa bọ̀ níwájú mi kí n rí níwájú mi báyìí. And may the best man win. Ìtò máa gbẹ̀yìn mi tó máa fojú ọmọ ìyá mi wò tó máa sí ọ̀bẹ bọ̀ mí lẹ́yìn àbí tó máa tọ́ka sílé tèmi táwọn àràbù àwọn Fúlàní wèrè tó máa pa ìyẹn lèmi ò fẹ́. Tó sì yẹ tí kú bá máa pààyàn kó ṣà máa bọ̀ wájú mi kí n lè rí pọ̀tá mi lélẹ́yìí o. May the best man win. Tó sì yẹ ọ̀tá èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ lọ́ta lórí ilẹ̀ ayé gbogbo ala lọ́ta but kébì ṣáà dọ́ọ̀ta tèmi mọ̀ ìwúre mi máa fi sínú ìwúre ni. tó ti yẹ yín kémi ṣáà dá ọ̀tá ti tèmi mọ̀ mi máa ń fi sínú ìwúre so tí bá dẹ̀ ti mọ̀ pọ́ta mi ni may the best man win after that. ọ̀tá bí ìran bí ọ̀tá lèmi ò fẹ́ because that's not a fair fight. tó ti yẹ yín ojú tó yẹ ká máa fi wò ó nìyẹn o ó ti dé stage yẹn sìn yìí o we can no longer be passive about what's going on. ó ti dé stage yẹn sìn so tẹ bá ní mùsùlùmí nírọ̀yí ìsídà kan denounce ẹ̀sìn mùsùlùmí wọn kẹ kọ́kọ́ gbé wọn sí kẹ kọ́kọ́ tì wọ́n síta náà kẹ máa lọ máa bá àwọn fúlàní kọ́ lọ máa bá wọn gbénu gbó kọ́ lọ máa gbénu gbó because we can no longer be passive about this. ó ti wà very very clear like I said if there's any benefit of 2025 a lot of things has happened this year but for me the biggest benefit of 2025 is that it has removed any grey area it has removed any ambiguity ṣó ti yé yín àti mọ̀ pé àwọn tó bá ṣìkù sínú Islam sí ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ni wọ́n ọ̀tá ni wọ́n ọ̀tá wa ni wọ́n kò ń ṣe ọ̀tá wọn ò dẹ̀ ń ṣe ọ̀tá Nigerians nìkan wọn ò ṣe ọ̀tá Yorùbá nìkan ọ̀tá gbogbo àwọn adúláwọ̀ bó jẹ́ àwa láfíríkà ni bó jẹ́ diaspora làwà ni ọ̀tá gbogbo àwọn adúláwọ̀ ni anybody tó sì ń ṣe mùsùlùmí lẹ́ni. So we should be making that very very clear because there is no more ambiguity ó ti clear bàjẹ́. So, yes, what's the answer you may be asking? Pan-Africa unity is the answer. Unless it unites behind nothing else but behind this. Behind our skin. We have to be uniting behind our skin. Kò sí kan mímọ́.
Bravo.
Bá mi ẹ tẹ̀síwájú sá.
Jọ̀ọ́ má bínú. Ṣorí bọ̀bọ̀ tó ń jẹ́ máa ẹ̀, can you just block him? Just block him. Camera post them on. That's
hopefully bí mo ṣe ń block ẹ ní.
It's a distraction. It's a distraction. Wọ́n máa ń rán wọn káàkiri.
Yeah, hopefully bí mo ṣe block ìyá ẹ lórí bí mo ṣe block bàbá ẹ lórí bíbá ẹ hopefully àwọn ọ̀run mọ̀lẹ́ máa bá mi block ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ lálẹ́ yìí kò ní dá fáwọn tó lu máa bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn hopefully àwọn ọ̀run mọ̀lẹ́ mo dẹ̀ fàṣẹ sí àrọ̀ mọ àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ṣe blọọkì wèrè lórí live yìí àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ ọmọ bá mi blọọkì ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ tí wèrè bá sùn lálẹ́ kò ní jíire lálẹ́ yìí.
àṣẹ go.
ẹ ṣeun bá mi I think I blocked him let me double check that. Yeah, mo ti block wèrè kó lọ tún àkáǹtì mi ṣe kó padà wá bọ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè mo dẹ̀ ṣe lágbára èṣù ọlá ìlú òkìrì òkò bí mo ṣe block ẹ ní live yìí èṣù á bá mi block ẹ ọmọ bá mi block ẹ mí ẹ tí wọn wèrè bá ti sùn lálẹ́ yìí o. àṣìírè this is no longer a laughing matter mi ò bá àwọn wèrè iṣẹ́ mo ò bá wọn fẹ́yìn mọ̀. So what's the solution? It's Pan-Africanism, uniting. That's the only way we can unite. That's the only way we can defeat our ajogun wèrè yìí. So only a united African voice across faith can break the illusion. We must choose our inner wisdom over manipulation. Torí pé the religious rhetoric, religious conflict tribal conflict they are being used to manipulate us. Ó ń fi yẹn manipulate wa ni. So lè máa gbà kán máa fi yẹn manipulate wa mọ́. Láti dìde, láti máa fohùn wa. Kí ni Ifá sọ fún wa? Ògúndáméjì sọ pé Ògúndájìyà àwọn ló dífá fún bọn adífá fún bọn ìbọn ń bẹ láàrin òṣèré ìbọn ń bẹ láàrin ẹ̀dá láàrin ọ̀tá ẹbọ làwọn ni ó máa ṣe ìbọn àtẹ̀yìn kọ̀kọ̀ ẹnu tí òfin fohùn ló fi ń ṣẹ́gun so aláti bẹ̀rẹ̀ fi ń lo ohùn wa ká máa fi ṣẹ́gun we have to use our voice our African voice we have to unite behind this. We have to unite behind this. Ṣó ti yé yín? Christian lẹni náà irọ́ àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe adúláwọ̀ ni as long as tí ò bá gbàbọ̀dé lórí wa ṣó ti yé yín àti pé one thing should be clear right now gbogbo àwọn tó ń pera wọn ní kìrìsìtẹ́nì àtàwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe we have to unite torí pé àwọn mùsùlùmí àwọn gangan ni at least they are overt ọ̀dàlẹ̀ dedicated ọ̀dàlẹ̀ constant ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ṣó ti yé yín àwọn ló yẹ ká kọ́kọ́ yọ kúrò lọ́nà náà o tábà ti yọ wọ́n kúrò lọ́nà tábà ti lé wọn kúrò nílùú wa then àwa oníṣẹ̀ṣe àtàwọn kìrìsìtẹ́nì then we can sit down pé okay báwo la ṣe fẹ́ ṣe ètò olúwa o just yẹn we have to unite ultimately under our culture under ìṣẹ̀ṣe but we'll get to that conversation later on. Right now àwọn wèrè onímùsùlùmí yìí aláṣẹ kọ́kọ́ lé wọn kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ wa. And I'm talking about all African nations have to come up, have to rise up right now. Àwọn Mùsùlùmí yẹn, wọ́n láti kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ fún wa. Wọ́n láti kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ fún wa. Tí a bá fẹ́ wọn mọ́ ní Nàìjíríà, tí wọn bá fẹ́ wọn mọ́ ní Ghana, tí wọn bá fẹ́ wọn mọ́ ní Ivory Coast, tí wọn bá fẹ́ wọn mọ́ ní Burkina Faso, tí wọn bá fẹ́ wọn mọ́ ní Niger, tí wọn bá fẹ́ wọn mọ́ ní South Africa, tá bá lé wọn lọ sí Saudi. Ká máa lé wọn lọ sí Saudi ká dẹ̀ la wò bóyá àwọn Saudi wá ṣe brothers and sisters fún wọn níbẹ̀. Tó ti yẹ we have to rise up. Look, what's coming is too risky for us to be passive. And it is coming. And it is going to come because we see it already. Ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àwọn neighboring countries wa already. Ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Egypt, ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Morocco, ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Algeria. We know what's coming already and it's happening currently in Sudan. It's happening currently in Libya. So we can no longer be laughing with these people. It's no longer a laughing matter. It's a matter of survival now. It's a matter of survival now. Like I said, the benefit of 2025 is there's no longer any ambiguity. Kò sí hiding place mọ́, kò sí pé àwọn moderate Muslim bóyá wọn mọ̀ tún mọ̀ ní bóyá wọn mọ̀ ní wọn irọ́ ọmọ gbogbo àwọn kìíní ó ti jáde ó ti spread káàkiri o. Ó ti jáde ó ti spread káàkiri àti pé the fact that whenever a part of Nigeria is being attacked ó ṣe máa ń jẹ́ pé àwọn Muslim àwọn Christian àtàwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe nìkan la máa ń gbọ́ tó máa ń complain pé àwọn Fúlàní ló tún lọ ṣe kan báyìí kí la máa ṣe sí what's the solution what can we do àwọn Muslim they're not with us when we're talking about solutions. They're not with us when we're talking about security of our nation. They're not with us when we're talking about protection of our sovereignty, protection of our land. They're not with us. So until choose decide táwọn wà nìyẹn àwa la àti process information yẹn now. Àwa tó kù la àti process information yẹn. They've already chosen sides. The rest is left for the rest of us to wake up to it and act accordingly. They cannot be trusted. Bó ṣe trust àwọn wèrè ní Egypt nìyẹn, àwọn Egypt àwọn dúdú tó wà ní Egypt lánàá dà. Bó ṣe trust àwọn wèrè ní Morocco, àwọn dúdú tó wà ní Morocco lánàá dà. Bó ṣe trust wọn ní Libya, bó ṣe trust wọn ní Sudan. We have to process the situation. We have to process the updates and act accordingly. Lè máa bá àwọn people yìí fẹ́ yín mọ̀. Remember, they fear our unity. They fear our unity. From Libya to Lagos to Sudan to Senegal, the weapon is division. And therefore, the cure is awakening and unity. Our awakening shall bring forth our victory over our enemies. Àwa ni a ó lékè ajogun àṣẹ. Àwa ni a ó lékè wọn kí Ifá bá ní ṣe kí Elédùmarè bá ní ṣe kí àwọn tọ́láyé bá ní ṣe Ifá ní tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ adéfá fún àkàlà eléyìí tí ń gbógun lọ ìlú ìlómi wọ́n ní ó kára kí mọ̀lẹ̀ kó jàre ẹbọ ni kó máa ṣe ìjẹ́ agbénilékè tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ o kàṣà ìgbénilékè tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ ojú oró nílékè omi tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ o kàṣà ìgbénilékè tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ kò sí bàtà nílékè odò tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ o kàṣà ìgbénilékè tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ fìlàní ò lékè orí tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ o kàṣà ìgbénilékè tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀rẹ̀ bóbìnrin bá gba aṣọ gèlè ní òlékè rẹ tẹ́ńtẹ́rẹ́ o kàṣà ìgbénilékè tẹ́ńtẹ́rẹ́ lágbára Olódùmarè ní àṣẹ lẹ́nu àwọn orúnmọlẹ̀ àwa la máa lékè àwọn ọ̀tá wa àwa là á borí wọn wọn ní gbọgbọgbọ lọ́wọ́ ń yọjú orí gbọgbọgbọ lòkè ń yọjú ìlú gbọgbọgbọ lọ́gọ́mọ̀ ń yọjú ọ̀pẹ àwa là á borí àwọn ọ̀tá wa àwa là á yọjú àwọn ọ̀tá wa lọ àwa là á borí ọ̀tá kí gbogbo àwọn ọ̀tá wa wọ́n máa fẹnu gbolẹ̀ níwájú wa báyìí wọ́n máa gbọ̀nà ọ̀run lọ wọ́n ní ẹni tó bá gbẹ́ kòtò wa àwọn ni wọ́n fi di lágbára Èdùmàrè wọ́n dẹ̀ nípa ọwọ́ tí àgbààgbà ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ bá gbé sókè ara ẹ̀ ló fi nà àwọn ọ̀tá wa káṣíìrì wọn wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń tú là ń tọrọ lọ́wọ́ Elédùmarè kọ́ wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí fọwọ́ ara wọn ṣera wọn gbogbo nǹkan ogun gbogbo nǹkan ìbọn ìdà ní ìbọn ní tó ti ń kójọ pé àwọn fẹ́ fi ṣe ọmọ aládé níjàmbá lágbára Èdùmàrè wọ́n máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kojú ẹ̀ sára wọn ìra wọn ló máa fi pa lágbára Èdùmàrè àwọn làárú ẹni tó bá gbẹ́ kòtò wa àwọn náà ni wọ́n máa fi di so from my own perspective there is no longer any hiding place. It's no longer a laughing matter. It's no longer a joking matter. The line has been drawn. There is a line in the sand. The signs should be clear. Muslims are no longer welcome here. Torí àwọn ọ̀tá tó fẹ́ wá pa wá rẹ́ fún Allah nìyẹn. It should be clear. It's at least clear to me. Ó dẹ̀ ti clear sáwọn wèrè tó wà ní àwọn tó ń ṣe mùsùlùmí ní Sudan ó ti clear sí wọn but it's too late. It's too late for them. Torí kéńgbà tó ń pa àwọn kìrìsìtẹ́nì bẹ̀ tó ń pa àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe bẹ̀ àwọn mùsùlùmí tó ń pa lọ́wọ́ sí wọn ọ̀dá sí náà. So àwọn mùsùlùmí táwọn ń pa nísìnyí táwọn ń gbọ́ pé in a week wọ́n ti pa 300,000 in a week wọ́n ti pa 400,000 àwọn mùsùlùmí tó ń pa ní Sudan nísìnyí it's too late for them. So kó tó late fún wa ẹ jẹ́ káwa náà dìde o. Kó tó late fún wa ó yẹ ká dìde o. This is a matter of our survival. About that. Èmi tí mo kẹ́ lè máa sọrú. We cannot speak on the topic of today without getting some kind of ban or some kind of restriction. So I came prepared for that. But I apologize for everyone else for the abrupt exit. I don't know if somebody reported my page. I don't know if it's TikTok. But ultimately, that page is apparently my life has been suspended on that other page. Well, I'm open a new page every day to get this message out there. I'm open new page every day. No new. Today's topic is not something. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joking matter. It's something I feel very passionate about. And TikTok page will mean anything. Money láti máa create, bí àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ṣe máa create page, different fake pages every day. Tó máa wá fi ń disrupt wa. Tó bá jẹ́ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà làwa náà ṣe máa create fake pages náà ni bẹ́ẹ̀ àmà láti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni o. So ti yẹn, if that's what it's going to take, then that's just what it's going to take. But what we're not going to do is sit around doing nothing. That's not, we're not going to do that. We're not going to sit around doing nothing. So, tó bá jẹ́ pàwá náà máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí open new pages, just, to get our message out there, then we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that. Lè wá kàn lè jókòó káwákáwé lẹ́rán kí a má ṣe nǹkan kan sí nǹkan tó ń bọ̀. Irọ́ o. We know what's coming because we know what's already visited other nations around us. So we know what's coming already. We know what's coming. So kàn lè káwé lẹ́rán ká má ṣe nǹkan kan. So we have to do whatever it takes. Tó bá jẹ́ ká máa create page every day ní a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí create page every day nígbà yẹn. Bá mi mo ṣe bá Júní lọ o.
Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́ǹkan yẹn náà? Wetin happen?
Àti TikTok lọ ṣá mi ní suspension sir.
Are you for real?
Yeah, for real. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was prepared for that.
Okay.
I was prepared for that. Because this kind of topics, it's going to obviously trigger them kind of reactions. Mm-hmm. So I'm prepared for it. But what we're not going to do is sit back and not do what we're supposed to do for our land and our survival.
I hear you, bro.
So yeah, we're gonna have to press forward. Aṣáájú bá àwọn tó máa wá disrupt wa. Aṣáájú bó ṣe máa fi fake page wọlé.
Account yẹn, that guy tó wá lẹ́nkàn yẹn ló ń flag account yẹn. That's.
Òun náà ló máa jẹ́. But I've appealed. But I'm gonna have to wait and hear what they and hear what they're saying.
Oh wow, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, but the timing is at least I was on my final slide, I think.
All right. Okay.
Let me just confirm. Yeah, I was literally on my last slide. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah. Bro, but mo fẹ́ fún ẹ̀yin àgbà ní àyè láti sọ̀rọ̀ sí okay, what's your take on what's going on? What's your
if I'm Tibaniki honest here, you see topic like this, man try as much as possible not to engage myself in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to engage myself in it. Yeah, and I have my reasons for that. But having said that, topic like this needs to be heard. We need to talk about it. And when you're not go toro, and we talk about koro. If you talk about koro, then if you want to let for disrupt in Kotanshe, you understand? What you're saying that you're saying nothing but the absolute truth. And truth hurts, as people know this. So, sad that Tabatin saw in Kotunje, that's when some people will start flag accounts, report accounts, just because you're saying the truth. It's very, very sad. But having said all of that, everything that you're saying is true. It's true. 110%. You know, I want platform come and take one man hammer all these people on their platform, you know. Mm-hmm. But you see, your platform, of course, it's all about education. This is what everybody comes here for, to learn, keep learning. But tell you about let's even forget about our this Muslims or I want to antagonize whatever you're doing. I want to work, but ye won't take and tell you about in law some certain words come. You know the two they talk. I don't want to talk too much. So
Benny,
yeah. So I personally, I would say, you know, I don't want to say tone it down because think about tone it down. That's the thing you want to give up. Yeah, no, I don't want that. But just know the way you go to take turn. Talk about the first song, so idetiwa kama fidetiwa magbolo. Yes. So that's what I would say for now, brother. I'm listening though. I'm listening.
I agree. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the wisdom. I fully agree with that. So so we need the wisdom. I need our own, you know. So yeah, thank you so much. But look, the topic, you know, we're gonna have to face it head on. I get what you were saying, but I mean, venture into certain things, but you also admit that we're gonna have to. It's now, you know, it's at a point where we can no longer be passive about this because we know what's coming. We know what's coming. We know what the plan is. We know what the agenda is. So we're gonna have to use our platform. Whatever it's gonna take is what it's going to take. So yeah, you know, I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared. Whatever it's going to take is what it's going to take. But being passive is definitely not, you know, not one of the options for me right now. And it shouldn't be to anybody who's of our color. It shouldn't be. We know what's coming. We have to rise up to it. We have to use our voices. We have to use our platform. We have to put our hands together. At the moment, every day, people should be screaming and shouting and posting about what's going on in Sudan. People should be screaming and shouting and posting about what's going on in Colonial, in Libya. Can they make sure identify àwọn tó ń ṣe kíní yẹn? Our Arabu don't shake in we have to be identify them. Koyaki hiding place when everybody we know the source of the pain and struggle, of the destruction, of the demonization, of the extermination. We know the source. We know the source of it. So lema tabati make our post here, tabati post one, mama no wasi one, àwọn Arabu, àwọn Mùsùlùmí burúkú yìí ló ń ṣe. Táwọn tabati ní wọn around wọn a máa náwó sí wọn báyìí àwọn mùsùlùmí àwọn àràbù yìí ló ń ṣe ó fẹ́ wá rajà ní irọ́ àtajà fún yín ẹ̀yin nìkan tẹ́ ń pa àwọn èèyàn káàkiri ní Áfíríkà irọ́ ẹ lọ ìrajà yín ní ọwọ́ Fúlàní ohun tó gbégbá síta ni ó ń tajà ní irọ́ ẹ má lọ rajà lọ́wọ́ àwọn mùsùlùmí burúkú yẹn o irọ́ o ẹ má lọ bá wọn rajà o ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ni wọ́n o apààyàn ni wọ́n o àwọn ni wọ́n ti ń pa adúláwọ̀ káàkiri ní Nàìjíríà o táwọn Fúlàní bá ya wọ ìlú wa àwọn tó máa ní kán wá pa wá lélẹ́yìí o àwọn tí àwọn Àràbù fẹ́ lò láti pa wá lélẹ́yìí o ó yẹ ká máa nàka sí wọn báyìí ni. That's the kind of environment we have to create now. A máa ní láti falà sí ara draw land in the sand sínú yẹ̀pẹ̀ báyìí nípa ní àfẹ́yìn mọ́ láàrin wa sẹ́ẹ̀. Apààyàn ní ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ní àfẹ́yìn mọ́ láàrin wa. We have to be doing that. Ẹnìkan ló ní bọ́ọ̀hù ní area kan ni àwọn èèyàn máa wá pọn mí bẹ̀. Irọ́ o. Ṣé Mùsùlùmí ní irọ́ ìlọ́pọ̀ mi lọ́dọ̀ Fúlàní ẹ̀lẹ́ wá pọn mí bíbáyìí ẹsẹ̀ kúrò bíbáyìí náà fún wa ká tó pọlọ́pàá sí yín torí pé ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ní yín apààyàn ní yín lè trust yín. wọ́n ní pé tí ikú ilé ò bá pa ni tòde èlò pa ni ẹ̀yìn ni ikú ilé táwọn Fúlàní máa fi mọ ibi tó yẹ káwọn wọ̀ ibi tó yẹ káwọn ibi tí ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì wà ibi tí ilé babaláwo wà ilé ibi oníṣẹ̀ṣe ibi tó wà ẹ̀yìn làwọn mùsùlùmí àwọn Fúlàní máa ń lò so àfẹ́yìnmọ́ láàrin wa sẹ́ẹ̀. That's the kind of environment we have to create. Irú environment yẹn ló máa jẹ́ ká survive kíní yìí. Irú environment yẹn ló máa jẹ́ ká survive kíní yìí. Tó ti yé yín? Àwọn ọmọ wa lọ sí ilé ìwé kan ní kíní kan irọ́ o. Ẹ láwọn mùsùlùmí ẹ máa admit àwọn mùsùlùmí nínú ilé irọ́ àwọn ò lè jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ tàwa kó wá máa bá àwọn ọmọ terrorist kó wá máa bá wọn jókòó sínú classroom o lè jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ tàwa kó wá máa bá wọn àwọn jihadist jókòó sínú classroom lè jẹ́ kí àwọn ọmọ títí wa kó wá máa bá àwọn ọmọ apààyàn jókòó sínú classroom irọ́ tó bá yẹ kẹ́ ń gba mùsùlùmí láàyè kó máa wá sílé ìwé yìí àwa ò wá sáà ọmọ wa ò lè wá sílé ìwé yìí. This is the kind of environment we should be creating now. Torí ìkan tó lè save wa nìyẹn tó bá ti wà nínú wa jù tó bá ti wà láàrin wa àní dá ọ̀tá mọ̀ yàtọ̀ sí ọ̀rẹ́. Ṣó ti yé yín? Àní dá ọ̀tá mọ̀ yàtọ̀ sọ́rẹ́ ó yẹ ká sọ pé nílẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí nílẹ̀ kóòtù òjìrè yìí àfẹ́yìn mọ́ lórí ilẹ̀ wa ìsídà kan máa lọ sí north kan lọ máa lọ bá àwọn Fúlàní ṣe àbí kan lọ máa bá àwọn Àràbù ṣe àfẹ́ wọn mọ́ lórí ilẹ̀ wa sẹ́ẹ̀. In every way dẹ̀ ló yẹ ká máa fi ṣe kinní yẹn nínú ọjà ni o nínú iléèwé ni o nínú anywhere in every way possible ló yẹ ká máa separate ra wa ń sìn náà. This thing is too clear. It's too clear. There is no more ambiguity now. There is no longer any confusion. There is no longer bóyá àwọn Yorùbá kan wà moderate àwọn Yorùbá moderate irọ́ o ṣé àwọn Yorùbá moderate dà ní Sudan níbi tó ti ń pa wọ́n sí. Àwọn dà nígbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní Egypt. Àwọn dà nígbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní Morocco. Àwọn dà nígbà tó ń pa wọ́n ní Algeria. Irọ́ o. Ó ti àsìkò ti wá tó gẹ́gẹ́ sìn ká wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí mọ ọmọ ọkọ àti ọmọ àlè ká wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí yànà fúnra wa o tó ti yé yín àsìkò ti wá tó gẹ́gẹ́ sìn yìí o lè bá àwọn pípù yìí gbé mọ́ o torí a ti mọ̀ kan tó ń bọ̀ o àwọn tí àwọn Àràbù yìí máa lò láti fi pa wá nìyẹn o àwọn tí àwọn Àràbù yìí máa lò láti fi pa wá nìyẹn so we can no there is no we can no longer coexist lè jọ gbé mọ́ láíláí àfìgbà tó bá fi àwọn ẹ̀sìn burúkú yẹn lẹ̀ but nísìnyí tá a ti mọ nǹkan tó wà nínú ẹ̀sìn yẹn tí ìtumọ̀ ti jáde sí Islam ti cast tàdẹ̀ ti rí báwọn Àràbù ṣe ń pa wọ́n nílẹ̀ tó bó ṣe ń pa wọ́n ní adúláwọ̀ àti ṣe history Egypt àti ṣe history Morocco àti rí báwọn Àràbù ló pa wọ́n rẹ́ níbẹ̀ yẹn àjẹmọ́ké plan tán ní fúnlẹ̀ tàwa náà nìyẹn ilẹ̀ bàbá wa ṣé àwa jókòó síbẹ̀ àwa káwọn ẹlẹ́ran kan wá pa wá bí adìyẹ àtẹ̀sọ́ pé adìyẹ kẹtẹ̀ tó gbọ́bẹ̀ sádìyẹ lọ́rùn adìyẹ máa ń japoró díẹ̀ àwa gan we are worse than adìyẹ sìn yo if we don't do anything about it tàdé máa jẹ́ káwọn pípì wa wọlé sí wa lára tán tí a ní lóhùn wa láti fi gbára wa lẹ̀ tí àní tí wọ́n síta pé àfẹ́mọ́mọ́ lórí ilẹ̀ wa so that at least táwọn ṣebí nǹkan táwọn bàbá wa ṣe lọ bọ́ ṣe ṣẹ́gun àwọn Fúlàní lọ́jọ́ sí nìyẹn torí at least wọ́n rí pé wọ́n ń gbẹ̀ṣin bọ̀ láti kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ láti Ìlọrin wọ́n ń gbé ẹṣin bọ̀ ẹṣin ìjà wọ́n ń gbé bọ̀ wọ́n wá lọ sinmi sí Òṣogbo làwọn bàbá ńlá wa ṣe lọ káwọn ọmọ Òṣogbo lọ́ ṣe lọ bẹ́ orí wọn síbẹ̀ yẹn lọ́ ṣe pa wọ́n síbẹ̀ yẹn ká nígbà àwọn Fúlàní ti wà láàrin wa àti pé ká ní àwọn Yorùbá Muslim pọ̀ báyìí nígbà yẹn àwọn bàbá wa wọn ò nílé identify ta lọ̀tá ta ní ìran wọn ò nílé identify ta ní ọ̀tá ta ní ìran náà kò ní sí pé a fẹ́ lọ ká àwọn ọmọ ibi tó wà irọ́ torí kí wọ́n sì wà láàrin wa already ṣó sì yẹ yín so nǹkan tó jẹ́ káwọn baba ńlá wa ṣẹ́gun wọn nígbà yẹn nìyẹn but táwa ò bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí tì wọ́n síta ń sìn ká máa create difference láàrin àwa ọmọ ọkọ àwa ọmọ ọkọ àti àwọn wèrè tó ti gba ẹ̀sìn tó ti fi ẹ̀sìn mùsùlùmí gbà bọ̀dẹ̀. There is no way we can defeat them if we don't start separating them from our midst now. At least tọ́ba ti lé wọn sí Ìlọrin àbí ilẹ̀ àràbù, tọ́ba láwọn fẹ́ wá gbógun wá lọ́la, at least a máa mọ̀ kó ogun ló ń gbé bọ̀, a máa rí wọn. We have a chance of defeating, of winning a battle that we can see coming. Torí ẹ̀ làwọn àgbà wa ṣe máa ń pa lówe pé tí ogun ilé ò bá pani tòde ò lè pani, torí pé ogun òde àṣàrí tó ń bọ̀. Ṣó ti yé yín? Àárí pé ó ń bọ̀ náà. Ogun ilé là nímọ̀ pé ó ń bọ̀ tóró ti a máa sùn la a máa sùn a máa dalala báyìí. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa gbé ọ̀bẹ sí ọ̀tá wa lọ́rùn nítorí pé ogun inú ilé àní rí when we can't see when it's coming. Ìkìlọ̀ délélé jẹ́ fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá o, fún àwọn ọmọ kóòtù òjíire. Ẹ yọra yín kúrò láàrin àwọn mùsùlùmí, ẹ yọ mùsùlùmí kúrò láàrin yín o, so that tó bá ti ń gbógun bọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la ẹ lè rí wọn pọ́n ń bọ̀ o. Àwọn tí wọ́n ti fẹ̀sìn gbàbọ̀dè ẹ kúrò ní sàkání wọn, yọ wọn kúrò ní sàkání yín o, so that a lè rí wọn tó bá ń bọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la. But tá a bá sì ń bá wọn gbé tí à ń bá wọn ṣe títí tó máa fi tọ̀bẹ bọ̀ yín lọ́rùn ẹ ní rí wọn o, títí tó máa fi dúbú yín ẹ nímọ̀ pọ́n ń bọ̀ o. Ó ti ṣúọ̀ nísìn pé ọ̀tá wa ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ni wọ́n sìn yó. Ó ti ṣúọ̀ bàjẹ́ o. There is no longer any confusion. There is no longer any confusion o. Ó ti ṣúọ̀ bàjẹ́. So a máa ní láti tì wọ́n síta ká separate wọn. So tó bá fẹ́ agbógun wá lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la à á lè rí pọ́ńbọ̀ o. We can see that they're coming. We can set our barriers. We can set our walls. We can set our strategize ourselves. Kabali survive nǹkan tó ń bọ̀ yìí, whether we like it or not. Ó ń bọ̀ o. Gbogbo àwọn ìlú tó ti dé ní Áfíríkà ó ti ṣàpẹẹrẹ fún wa already pé kíní yìí ń bọ̀ o. Àwọn wèrè tó ti gbàbọ̀dé láàrin wa ẹja bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí tì wọ́n síta o, ká máa tì wọ́n sí Kwara, ká máa tì wọ́n sí ilẹ̀ àwọn Fúlàní, ká máa tì wọ́n sí ilẹ̀ Àràbù, ká dẹ̀ máa yọ wọ́n kúrò láàrin wa torí àwọn tó máa lò láti pa wá lọ́la nìyẹn o. Lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la àwọn tó máa kọ́kọ́ lò wọ́n sì máa bẹ́ orí àwọn náà bẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn wèrè yìí ọpọlọ wọn ti kú. So àwọn ọmọ ọkọ tí a sì ní ọpọlọ tó sì ń ṣiṣẹ́ ẹja àti wọ́n sẹ́yìn. Kọ́ máa wá fi orí burúkú sí wọn, kọ́ máa fi yẹn bá sí wa jẹ́. We have to separate ourselves. It is time. It is time. Oh, take this as a message that it is time to separate the weed from the crop. Crop. Ọmọ kan ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Àwọn weed koríko ẹrú àràbù ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. We are láti yọra wa kúrò láàrin wọn so that at least ọwọ́ wọn máa jìnnà sí wa díẹ̀. Kán tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó bá ti organize ra wọn a máa ti tètè rí wọn o. But tó bá sì ń jẹ́ kó máa bá wa gbé, kó máa wà ní sàgbègbè wa, kó máa wà ní sàkání wa tí tó máa fi bẹ́ orí yín ẹ̀ nímọ̀ o. Ẹ̀ nímọ̀ what did I say earlier? Mo máa sọ pé it's not by coincidence, it's not by accident. Okay, kì í gbọ́ káwọn mùsùlùmí jáde tó bá ní kó ti pa àwọn Fúlàní ti lọ pa wọ́n níbi kan ti lọ pa. You never hear àwọn mùsùlùmí burúkú yìí kí wọ́n jáde kí wọ́n sọ pé kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn, nǹkan tó ṣe yẹn ò dá o. Ní gbọ́ kó sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Àwọn àfáà ní gbọ́ káwọn àfáà wá sọ pé nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn ò dá o. We never ever hear anything like that. From those cowards. We never hear anything like that. Kì í gbọ́rùn kankan bẹ́ẹ̀ náà. À ń gbọ́ kan jáde. Wọ́n ń jáde náà. Àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe nìkan ló máa ń jáde àtàwọn Christian tó ń ké. Àwọn nìkan ló máa ń jáde náà. Níbo làwọn Mùsùlùmí wà nígbà tó ń pa àwọn èèyàn wa? Why are they always silent nígbà tó máa ń pa àwọn èèyàn wa? Why? ìyẹn mi pé àwọn ẹ̀yin ilẹ̀ tí ìwé kọ àwọn tí ń fojú ọ̀tá wò yín already, àwọn ti gbàbọ̀dé lórí yín already, ẹ̀yin ilẹ̀ tí ìtají ẹ̀yin ilẹ̀ tí ìtají o, àwọn ti gbàbọ̀dé lórí yín already. That's why they quiet, that's why they silent about our pain and anguish about our extermination. Torí ẹ̀ ni wọn ò ṣe kí ń sọ̀rọ̀ náà. Àwọn imam, àwọn àfà, torí ẹ̀ ni wọn ò ṣe kí ń sọ̀rọ̀ náà. And silence is what? Is tacit approval. Yẹn mi pé ọ́n approve fún nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nìyẹn. Ìsídà kan lọ́wọ́ nú ẹ̀ àbí pé kí wọ́n approve ẹ̀ ó tẹ̀ wọ́n lọ́rùn, nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn tẹ̀ wọ́n lọ́rùn nìyẹn. And I'm telling you now as ọmọ Yorùbá, especially táwọn Igbo náà bá ń gbọ́ mi, it is time to separate yourselves from àwọn tí wọ́n sì gbàbọ̀dé, mo ní lè sọ ní Yorùbá ní English, àwọn tí wọ́n ti fi ẹ̀sìn gbàbọ̀dé, àwọn ẹrú àràbù. It is time to separate yourselves from them. It is time. A lè gbà wọ́n kí wọ́n máa gbé láàrin wa mọ́. It is too dangerous now. So we have to recognize them for what they are. Hostile enemies. Àwọn ọ̀tá. So aláti dá wọn mọ̀ o, aláti jẹ́ kọ́ mọ̀ pé a mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin ti gbàbọ̀dọ̀ lórí wa, àmọ́ àwa whilst we have the opportunity to, aláti yọra wa kúrò láàrin yín, aláti tì í sẹ́yìn so that ẹ bá ń gbógun bọ̀, which you inevitably will. Tẹ́ bá ti ń gbógun bọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la, àmọ́ ẹ̀yin ti gbàbọ̀dẹ̀. So ti yẹ yín, ẹrú àràbúlẹ̀ yín. Àwa ti mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin ti gbàbọ̀dé lórí ìran yín, ṣó ti yé yín. Tẹ́ bá wá sí gbógun bọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la táwọn àràbù bá ti pa àwọn tó ń pàṣẹ lórí yín, tẹ́ bá ti pàṣẹ pé kẹ́ wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ jihad, kẹ́ wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń pa wá, at least a máa rí yín tẹ́ bá ń bọ̀ o. Bọ̀ tá bá gbà yín láàyè kẹ́ṣì wà láàrin wa, nímọ̀gbà tẹ́ máa ti dàbọ̀ wá lọ́rùn. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ó ti ṣúọ̀ pé ọ̀tá ilẹ̀ kóòtù òjìrè làwọn pípù yìí, ó ti ṣúọ̀ bàjẹ́. No more pretending, no. No more pretending, no. No more pacifism. Lè máa wà passive mọ́. This is clear now. Irọ́ aláti dìde sí, aláti protest, aláti broadcast ẹ̀. Àwọn agan aláti jẹ́ káwọn náà mọ̀ pé àwa ti tají, àti mọ̀ pọ́ta lẹ́yìn iṣẹ́. Àti mọ̀ pọ́dàlẹ̀ lẹ́yìn iṣẹ́. Àti mọ̀ pé apààyàn lẹ́yìn iṣẹ́. A mọ̀ pé you are waiting for your instructions. Àwa ti mọ̀. So àwọn ò ní wá káwọ́ lẹ́rán, káwá máa sùn ká máa dálálá, kẹ́yìn wá gba instruction láti Saudi Arabia àbí láti Qatar, kẹ́wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dúnbù wá bìbà irọ́, ẹ kọ́kọ́ kúrò lù fún wa náà. Tẹ́ bá wá sí gba instructions, kẹ́ máa bọ̀ gbà at least by then á fún àwọn aláyè láti lè defend ra wa díẹ̀. Ṣó ti yé yín? Bọ̀ pé ẹ wá wà láàrin wa lénìí, àwa máa bá yín rẹ́, a máa bá yín yọ̀, a máa bá yín jó, a máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé àmọ́ pọ̀ ta ni. Irọ́, there is no more time for that. Àsìkò irú ọjọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ àsìkò yẹn ti lọ sẹ́yìn o, irọ́ o. Not now. 2026 and beyond, it should be very, very clear. And let it be written in history. Ṣó ti yẹ yín pé láti ìsìn lọ ni àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá, ọmọ kóòtù jíire lọ́wọ́ á dìde sí àwọn ọ̀tá ilé tá à ń pè ní àwọn Mùsùlùmí. Láti ìsìn lọ la wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń dìde sí wọn, la wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń lé wọn kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ wa. Let it be written in history. Ipò tí wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti èlé yìí lọ, gbogbo àwọn ọmọ kóòtù jíire. Táwọn Ìgbò bá fẹ́ tají, táwọn náà bá fẹ́ tají, àwọn dẹ̀ lọ́mọ o. But àwa ọmọ kóòtù òjíire àti tají sí àti mọ àwọn ọ̀tá, àwọn tí wọ́n ti gbàbọ̀dè lórí ilẹ̀ wa láti ọjọ́ òní yìí lọ. Tàbá sọ pé a fẹ́ vote, àti níwá gbà téèyàn tó bá jẹ́ Mùsùlùmí kó tó wá jọba lórí ilẹ̀ wa mọ́ látẹ̀ní yìí lọ. Látẹ̀ní yìí lọ, èèyàn tó bá ti jẹ́ Mùsùlùmí kò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ gọ́fúnà mọ́. Àbí ọba àbí ìjòyè lórí ilẹ̀ wa mọ́ látẹ̀ní lọ. Ṣó ti yé yín? ọmọ Yorùbá ronú o kẹta jí o a lè wá gbà kí ẹni tó bá ti gbé ẹ̀sìn yìí sọ́wọ́ kó tún wá jọba lórí ilẹ̀ wa mọ́ irọ́ wọn ò tiẹ̀ lè jẹ́ teacher ní classroom àwọn ọmọ wa mọ́ wọn ò lè jẹ́ principal ní school àwọn ọmọ wa mọ́ o. ọjọ́ òní láti dé o èdè ni kinní yẹn ṣe ń jo àwọn àgbàwádẹ máa bá mi fàṣẹ sí àwọn orúmọlẹ̀ máa bá mi fàṣẹ sí àwọn tó ṣílẹ̀kùn ọjọ́ òní máa bá mi fàṣẹ sí àwọn ìyá mi wọ́n máa bá mi pa á láṣẹ láti ọjọ́ òní yìí lọ nọmọkú òṣòjìire wa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń dìde sí i o láti ní yìí lọ a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń yọwọ́ kúrò láàrin wa ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí gbàbọ̀dè lórí ilẹ̀ bàbá yín ẹ wá padà kẹ wá máa lọ ilẹ̀ fúlàní fún wa kẹ wá máa lọ ilẹ̀ àràbù fún wa àwọn alágbára tó wà nílẹ̀ wa látẹ̀ní ìlọ ó yẹ kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wọ́n lẹ̀ ní anybody tó bá ti gbé ẹ̀sìn ìsọwọ́ kó kú tọmọtọmọ ni. àwọn babaláwo àwọn oníṣègùn wa àsìkò tí wá tó kó wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wọ́n lẹ̀ anybody tó bá ti gbé ẹ̀sìn yìí sọ́wọ́ kó ṣọ́kù tọmọtọmọ. àsìkò ti tó o we are no longer playing with them. látẹ̀ní ìlọ ó yẹ kó ti rí bẹ́ẹ̀ o ẹnìkan ń tajà ni a ti gbọ́ kí mùsùlùmí ni a lè bá yín rajà mọ́ o ẹ̀yin apààyàn lélẹ́yìí o àmọ̀pẹ́ yìí ń dúró láti gba instruction lọ́wọ́ àwọn àràbù kẹ́ wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń pa wá ni irọ́ o mùsùlùmí ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ má bá wọn rajà o. ọ ń gba àwọn ọmọ mùsùlùmí níléèwé yẹn irọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa ò lè lọ́bẹ̀ yẹn o àti gbọ́ pé léèwé yẹn àwọn ọmọ apààyàn ló ń lọ́bẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ló ń lọ́bẹ̀ àwọn ò lè fọmọ sírú léèwé yẹn o. àti gbọ́ pé kíníkan àwọn ọmọ mùsùlùmí fẹ́ máa pọn mi níbi tí bọ́ọ̀ wà níbi tí èèyàn kan ṣe bọ́ọ̀ sí bó jẹ́ christian bó jẹ́ oníṣẹ̀ṣe àìrọ́ àgbà àìrọ́ ẹ̀yin ọmọ apààyàn ẹ̀ lè débí báyìí ẹ̀ lè wá pọn mi lórí ilẹ̀ wa o ẹ̀yin ọmọ apààyàn yìí ẹ̀ lè débí báyìí o irọ́ o. It should be very, very clear now. This is our only chance of survival. Is to separate them so that tó bá ti ń bọ̀, which they inevitably will. A máa ti rí wọn pọ́n bọ̀. Tó bá ti ń bọ̀, a máa ti mọ̀ kí báwọn baba ńlá wa ṣe rí wọn gbà tó ń bọ̀ tí wọ́n dé Òṣogbo. Táwọn baba ńlá wa ṣe rí wọn pé àwọn ọ̀tá ti ń bọ̀. Tí àwọn bàbá wa tí wọn káwọ́ lẹ́rán tí wọ́n wò pé moderate muslim Yorùbá muslim ni wọ́n ẹjẹ́ fi wọ́n lẹ̀ irọ́ ọlọ́ka wọn mọ́ Òṣogbo mọ́jú lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ orí gbogbo wọn dànù. a ti ṣètò yẹn fídíò yẹn ó wà lọ fídíò ìtàn yẹn wà lórí page mi ó dẹ̀ wà lórí YouTube page wa ní Yorùbá Ronú Publishing kẹ́ lọ wò ó ń bẹ̀ kẹ́ lọ gbọ́n ìtàn yẹn o. àwọn àgbà ló máa ń pa lówe ìpè ẹni tó bá rántí ìṣẹ́gun bàbá rẹ̀ á rántí ọmọ ẹni tí ó jẹ́ ẹjẹ́ àlọ́ka gbogbo àwọn ìtàn yẹn ká bá fi rántí ọmọ ẹni tí a jẹ́ o ká ní kí àwọn baba ńlá wa gbà wọ́n láàyè láti wọ àárín wa kọ́ máa pretend bí moderate muslims Yorùbá muslims báyìí àwọn baba wa ò ní survive kí ni wọn ò bá sí pawá rẹ̀ sí pẹ́ náà wọn ò bá sí pawá rẹ̀ sí pẹ́ náà so we can no longer pretend pé wọn ò ń ṣe ọ̀tá ilẹ̀ kóòtù òjíire. We can no longer pretend o it is time látẹ̀ní ìlọ ká wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí yàgò fún wọn ká wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ irọ́ o èèyàn kan ó kọ́ new estate kan ní ọ̀dẹ̀ ń ta lẹ́ńbẹ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ǹtì lẹ́ńbẹ̀ ṣé àwọn apààyàn yẹn ṣáwọn náà ń gbé bíbà irọ́ apààyàn kan bí àwọn mùsùlùmí méjì irọ́ àlè wá rẹ̀ǹtì lé lọ́dọ̀ yín àlè wá ra lé lọ́wọ́ lọ́dọ̀ yín àlè wá bá yín ṣe business torí pé àti gbọ́ pé àwọn mùsùlùmí wà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn a ti gbọ́ pé àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ wà bẹ́ẹ̀ a ti gbọ́ pé àwọn apààyàn wà bẹ́ẹ̀. We can no longer be quiet. Kọ́ wa máa lo silent treatment kọ́ máa fi pa wọ́n kọ́ máa fi dúnbù wa lẹ́yìn kọ̀ọ̀kan. No, those kind of days are long gone. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ògúndájìyà ẹnu tí a fi ń fohùn la fi ń ṣẹ́gun àwọn láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń fohùn. We have to be very, very proactive about our survival now. The time for pacifism is gone. Those days are long gone. Those days are over. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ẹ já wake up o. Àwọn àgbà wá gbè wá kì wá lẹ́yìn o. Wọ́n á fún wa ní agbára láti gbára wálẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọ̀tá lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀. àwọn àgbà wá gbé wa, àwọn ìyá mi wá gbé wa lárugẹ, Ifá gbé wa, èṣù ọ̀dàrà á gbé wa lẹ́yìn, wá kí wa lẹ́yìn o, apá ọ̀tá ò ní ká wa, ọfà ọ̀tá ò ní bà wá o, lágbára Èdùmàrè àwa là á borí ọ̀tá, ọ̀tá ò ní borí wa o. Gbogbo àwọn ọ̀tá alẹ́ kóòtù ojíire ọmọ aṣọ́kú ni wọ́n wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gba ọ̀nà ọ̀run lọ báyìí. Tó bá sùn kó má jíire, tó bá lọ kó má bọ̀ re o. Àwa ọmọ aládé ọmọ kóòtù ojíire tí à ń fẹ́re fún ọmọ làkejì wa tí à gbàbọ̀dé lórí ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, a máa sùn re, a máa jíire, a máa lọ re, a máa bọ̀ re. Ẹni tó bá ní ká má sùn re àwọn ni wọn ò ní jíire lágbára Èdùmàrè. Ẹni tó bá ní ká má lọ re àwọn ni wọn ò ní bọ̀ re lágbára Èdùmàrè. Ẹni tó bá ní ká má dé àwọn ni a ò ní bá lágbára Èdùmàrè. Ifá ní ẹ fara náà lẹ̀ adífá fún àtòrí lẹ̀bẹ̀lẹ̀bẹ̀ eléyìí tí ń ṣerú àkọ́rà egungun ìwà àtòrí lẹ̀bẹ̀lẹ̀bẹ̀ ò bá súré wá kó wá pọ̀ ta níwájú àwo àtòrí lẹ̀bẹ̀lẹ̀bẹ̀ lágbára àwọn orúnmọlẹ̀, lágbára gbogbo àwọn egungun wa, wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń pa ọ̀tá níwájú wa báyìí. Gbogbo àwọn ọ̀tá ilẹ̀ kóòtù ojíire tó ti gbàbọ̀dé lórí ilẹ̀ wa, tó ti fi ẹ̀sìn gbàbọ̀dé, wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gbọ̀nà ọ̀run lọ lágbára Èdùmàrè. Àwa là á borí wọn, àwa là á ṣẹ́gun wọn lágbára Èdùmàrè. Á rí bẹ́ẹ̀, á jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀, àrò àárọ̀ mọ́. So yeah, that's the program for today. I'm sorry if it sounds like, you know, like it sounds a bit like a bit hyper today. If it sounds a bit too serious today, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, bro. You know what I'm saying? M. Bravo is normally well mannered. He's normally, you know, a calm guy, a respectful guy. Not when it comes to survival of my own people. Like, you know, when it's time for when it's time for war. Tí àsìkò ogun bá ti dé, ohùn wa gbọ́dọ̀ jọmọ́ ohùn ẹni tó wà nínú ogun. You understand? There's a time for everything. There's a time and a place for everything. We have to, you know, you have to rise up to the challenge of the day. So there will be other programs, there will be other shows, which is a little bit more of, you know, more calm, more relaxed. But when it comes to the extermination of my people, there's no room for laugh and jokes. There's no room for no rules. Tí TikTok bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń bá mi, kí TikTok gbìyànjú, èmi gan máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lọ create àwọn pages gan tó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pọ̀ gan sìn. Tó bá bá nìkan àtúgbè mí sókè, tó bá gbà nìkan àtúgbè mí dìde. Nǹkan tó máa gbà ń sìn nìyẹn o. But what's not gonna happen is that we are going to be quiet. We're gonna continue to be quiet while our people have been exterminated all throughout the continent. No longer going to happen. We have to use our voice. We have to use our voices. We have to use our platforms. Thank you to everybody who joined. I'm sorry that we were abruptly cut off earlier. I'm sorry about that. But don't worry, it's not going to be the last time we talk about this. We're going to continue. We're going to be coming back. We're going to be doing programs like this. A whole lot more. Because we have to create the awareness. We have to be hostile towards àwọn ọ̀tá, àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ tó wà lórí ilẹ̀ wa tí wọ́n balẹ̀ wa jẹ́, tí wọ́n fẹ́ ká parun. Aláti dìde sí wọn, so there's no more hiding place. At least a bá ti jẹ́ káwọn ọ̀tá mọ̀ pé there's no more hiding place. Kò síbi tẹ́lẹ̀ sápamọ́ sí láàrin ìwà irọ́ àti mọ̀pọ́ta ní àmàmà nàka sí yín báyìí ni, ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ní, apààyàn ní. Tó sì yẹn, so aláti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Èdùmàrè á dẹ̀ gbè wá, àwọn orúnmọlẹ̀ á gbè wá, àwọn àgbààgbà wá gbè wá, wọ́n á gbé wa lárugẹ, wọ́n á gbé wa lékè. Àwa là á borí ọ̀tá o, àwa là á ṣẹ́gun ọ̀tá lágbára Èdùmàrè. Á rí bá a ṣe ń fẹ́ o. Mo ṣe bá Júnilọ, mo ṣe bá gbogbo ẹ̀yin bá mi, ẹ̀yin ìyá mi, tẹ bá mi wá dẹ́sẹ̀tò, bàbá mi general, a máa rí bá ní YNT. Thanks for your contribution always. Ẹ kú iwájú o. Mo ṣe bẹ̀yìn àgbà wa, ìyá mi tí kémi kò bá tọ́jú ọ̀nù alẹ́ kan náà, àti gbogbo àwọn bàbá mi, àwọn ìyá mi tọ́jú ọ̀nù alẹ́ kan náà. A tún padà wá, mo ṣe appeal kìíní yẹn bọ̀. Táwọn bá sọ pé òkè, àwọn ọmọ láti uphold suspension whatever. Mo ti ní page lè, I'm gonna create more. A máa ṣe lọ, a máa dìde, wọ́n gbé tán blọọkì kan, àtúgbè mí dìde ni. But we are no longer turning back. From this point onwards, the only way is forward, and the only way is through. Àwọn wèrè tó ti gbàbọ̀dé, tó ti fẹ̀sìn gbàbọ̀dé láàrin wa, there should no longer be any hiding place. Ṣó ti yé yín? Kò yẹ kó ṣù lè máa sápamọ́ kó máa pretend fún wa mọ́ o. Kò sí time fún tàkíyà mọ́sẹ̀. A máa náwó sí wọn pọ̀ tá wa ní, ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ní, apààyàn ní. Ṣó ti yé yín? A dẹ̀ tún máa encourage àwọn other places, àwọn other parts of Africa. A máa encourage àwọn náà kó máa ṣe the same thing. Torí now, as you identify common enemy, àti identify àwọn ọ̀tá adúláwọ̀ ní àwọn mùsùlùmí àti identify yín àdèmàmà káàsì yín ni àwọn brothers wa sisters wa tó wà ní other places in Africa a máa sọ fún wọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní báyìí ló ṣe rí a máa share information pẹ̀lú wọn a máa exchange information a máa nàka sí yín a máa tọ́ka sí yín pé àwọn ọ̀tá tó ń balẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ jẹ́ ni àwọn táwọn àràbù fẹ́ fi pa wá rẹ́ lélẹ̀ a máa tọ́ka sí yín a máa nàka sí yín ni kò dẹ̀ ní dá fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ń bẹ̀ tẹ́ fẹ́ balẹ̀ wá jẹ́. ẹ ṣe a máa fi yan orúkọ yìí kún ìwúre ẹ mọ̀ pé tibitire la dálé ayé tá a bá ti ṣe ìwúre tó ìwúre náà èpè náà ìwúre náà lè pè náà ṣó ti yé yín a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í fi orúkọ yín kún a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í fi ti yín kún ni o àwọn ẹbí yín a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í fi kún ni ṣó ti yé yín so there is no longer any hiding place the only way is forward from this point onwards the only way is forward. Lè padà sẹ́yìn mọ́ we can no longer go back to sleep àfi tí gbogbo àwọn wèrè yìí bá ti kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ wa. So ti yẹn we can no longer go back into trying to be civil trying to pretend like no àfi tí gbogbo àwọn pípì tó bá ti gbalẹ̀ àràbù lọ àbí tó bá ti gbalẹ̀ àwọn fúlàní lọ. So ti yẹn àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ á gbé wa o àṣẹ́gun àwa là á borí wọn lágbára Èdùmàrè àṣẹ́gun wọn jálẹ̀ o àríbà ṣe ń fẹ́ mo ṣe ẹ̀ lábọ́rú mo ṣe ẹ̀ lábọ́ yìí mo ṣe lábọ́ ìbọn ṣíṣe o àtúpadà wá lọ́jọ́ míì ó lè jọ́la àbọ̀túnla àtúwá ṣe the same thing again a máa ṣe lọ àtúmọ̀ invite other people other platforms from other African country àwọn wèrè tó wà ní Sudan tó ti ń pa á sí bóyá màá wá bẹ́ẹ̀ díẹ̀ ni wọn kó wá pa àwọn irú àwọn ìtàn nǹkan tó ń ṣe báwo ló ṣe ń lọ nílẹ̀ wọn kọ́ wa máa sọ fún ẹ̀yin wèrè tẹ́wà ní Nàìjíríà tẹ́ẹ̀fẹ́ tají maybe I will be inviting those people tó ti yé yín àwọn ìran dúdú adúláwọ̀ tó ti lé ìyá wọn kúrò ní Egypt tó ti lé wọn kúrò ní Morocco maybe we going to find those people a máa gbé wọn wá kọ́ wa máa sọ ìtàn báwo ló ṣe pa wọ́n rẹ́ nílẹ̀ wọn báwo ní Egypt ṣe wá dilẹ̀ àràbù lẹ́ni báwo ní Morocco ṣe dilẹ̀ àràbù lẹ́ni àwọn tó escape owó ẹrú ní Libya àmà ní kíkọ́ máa wá sórí page báwo lẹ ṣe escape ń bẹ́ẹ̀ kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ báwo làwọn àràbù yìí ṣe rí àwọn àràbí tó ń dòyà wọn gbogbo àwọn kíní yà máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí expose ẹ̀ a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí expose ẹ̀ from now on no more peace no more kò tiẹ̀ sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ any kind of unity láàrin wa mọ́ láàrin pẹ̀lú àwọn tó ń ṣe ẹ̀sìn burúkú yìí no we have to make sure that we declare our position ipe ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá fẹ́ máa ṣe ẹ̀sìn yìí ọ̀tá wa ni wá ní ọ̀tá wa ní ọ̀tá ìran wa ní and àbáyín fẹ̀yìn òṣì mọ́ o no more preaching no more none of that irọ́ báwa gan ṣe máa ok wá bẹ́ẹ̀ máa pa wá rẹ́ báwa gan ṣe máa pa yín rẹ́ gan làwa gan á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gbìyànjú sínsìn tó ti yé yín ó láti rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o tábà máa survive kínní yìí ó láti rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o àti àwọn wèrè tó máa ń wà láàrin wa tẹ́kẹ́ tábà sọ kíkà ẹ̀jẹ̀ wa gbà ràn wálẹ̀ àwọn wèrè akámi máa sẹ́kẹ́ àṣejù yín ti pọ̀ ju ẹ̀yin gan kínní kan tí yín náà ti ń pọ̀ jù irú àwọn wèrè yẹn bá a máa ṣépè fún wọn a máa tì wọ́n sẹ́yìn ẹ̀yin kọ́kọ́ shut up kẹ́lọ́ ẹ̀yin lọ jókòó sẹ́yìn náà ẹ̀yin lọ jókòó sí iye go back to the back of the queue náà àti ẹ̀fẹ́ gbọ́ ohun ẹ̀yin wèrè tẹ́ pé tábà ti ń sọ pé ká wá gbà ràn wálẹ̀ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ tún wà lára wálẹ̀ tí máa sọ pé tí wọn náà ti pọ̀ ju kíní wọn náà ti pọ̀ ju irú àwọn wèrè bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn a máa kọ́kọ́ máa lé wọn sẹ́yìn náà àti ẹ̀fẹ́ máa gbóhùn àwọn wèrè bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn mọ́ láàrin wa at all those kind of people they bring discouragement we don't want to be hearing from those kind of voices anymore. Tábà ti gbara wa lẹ̀ tán tábà ti lé gbogbo àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn ọ̀tá yìí kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ wa then those kind of muppets maybe we can allow them to come and speak but right now àwọn tá fẹ́ gbara wa lẹ̀ irú ohun tá fẹ́ máa gbọ́ láàrin wa ń sìn nìyẹn àwọn wèrè tó máa ń fẹ́ sọ́kẹ́ ká ní sùúrù yẹn irọ́ àti ẹ̀fẹ́ gbóhùn wọn mọ́ láàrin wa àtọ́ tábà ti dé there's going to be a time for that there's a time for everything tábà ti gbara wa lẹ̀ tábà ti lé àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ yìí gbogbo àwọn àràbù yìí tábà ti lé àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ yìí àwọn tó ti gbàbọ̀dẹ̀ yìí tábà àwọn apààyàn rí tábà ti lé wọn kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ wa tábà ti wá ní breathing space here then those kind of clowns àwa gbà wọ́n láyè kí wọ́n máa sọ̀rọ̀ láàrin wa but until then àti ẹ̀fẹ́ gbọ́ àwọn wèrè tó máa ní kéka máa ní sùúrù if you're not ready to fight for your own people if you're not ready to use your voice to talk about what's going on in support of your own race we don't even want to hear from you. àti ẹ̀fẹ́ gbọ́ nǹkan tó fẹ́ sọ your opinion is no longer welcome irú environment tó yẹ ká máa create nìyẹn o Èdùmàrè á gbà fún wa o, à lè ṣe ní àṣeyè àṣeyọrí àti àṣe ìṣẹ́gun, àwa la borí ọ̀tá, àwa la ṣẹ́gun ọ̀tá alágbára Èdùmàrè o. Ẹ ṣeun fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin àgbààgbà, fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ gbọ́ wa lónìí. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá yẹ pé you're hearing this for the first time, follow the page. We're going to be back, we're going to be doing this a whole lot. Ẹ ṣeun o, gbogbo fídíò tàdé ṣe lónìí màá tún post ẹ sórí YouTube, ṣó ti yẹn màá post ẹ sórí YouTube, màá post ẹ sí gbogbo page mi, nǹkan tó bá máa gbà náà la máa fún un. Mo ṣe bá Júnilọ, mo ṣe ẹ̀ lábọ́rú, mo ṣe ẹ̀ lábọ́yè, mo ṣe ẹ̀ lábọ́yè bọ́ ṣíṣe o. A máa rí yín bá ní wáyé tì, ìpàdé wa ní ire, ìpàdé wa ní ayọ̀, a rí bá a ṣe ń fẹ́, àṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Thank you.